So you're my angel, you're my darling. Oh,
TikTok time to hear AP singing Shaggy. How do you even know that song before you're born, man?
dude, that was the peak of it was when I was young.
Back in the day, man. Back in the day. Check. Hang on. Who was I on with most recently? 1 second. 1 second. Your stupid program, and it is
Life
stupid,
is
called
one big party
StreamYard,
when it's so young, but yours gonna
always
have you back when it's all done.
always takes it upon itself to reduce my volume, and then I forget, and then I wonder why my volume's
Sourdough,
low.
we need it there poor fun. Can't be a fool, son. What about the long run?
Is that an American flag that you're sitting on and a UK flag you're wrapped in?
Yeah, I'm not sitting on it.
You're
It's
sitting on an
on
American flag.
it's on my chair.
People didn't die and fight wars so some Turkish German could disrespect the flag by putting his butt on it.
I wanted to get two flags, one American and one British, and then I just received them, but then noticed that I didn't get anything to actually hang them up, so I decided to just put them on me.
What you should do is put a Turkish flag on your seat and sit on it every time. And then a German flag under your feet, and you have it there. And then you have an American flag draped across the background, standing in victory over the conquered Turks and Germans. Got that?
Hmm. Is this how you start your show, man? What is this? No
Well, you
talking,
screwed everything up by distracting me, man.
just sitting there and
I'm just sitting
letting
here
people
looking at your
watch the
stupid,
screen.
I don't want to say stupid flags, but your stupid presentation of said flags. Anyway. Hey. Oh, hey. Hey, AP.
Yes.
We're gonna check out this debate. Did you see Avery's debate with his name is Dr. Nasser something, but he's a scholar. Hang on. Let me look up this guy real quick. They call him Dr. Nasser. I believe that's his first name, not his last name. Hey guys, what's his name? What's the guy's name so I can look up his channel?
Nobody cares what his name is.
Every single person in the entire world, Nasser Karimian. That's actually a cool name, Dr. Nasser Karimian. Karimian's a cool name, man. It's like Kardashian. Karimian. So
Just
anyway, guys, so Avery debated Dr. Nasser Karimian. Everyone always said, oh, why are you just debating the Dawa guys? Why don't you debate the Muslim scholars? Anyway, he debated a Muslim scholar on whether Jesus is a Muslim, so you're not getting the standard Dawa nonsense. You're getting the scholarly Muslim nonsense. But let me read his description here. This is from his YouTube page. Description. Dr. Nasser Karimian holds a bachelor's degree from Concordia University, where he majored in religion and minored in classical Arabic language. He then
dude,
earned a
don't say
master.
minor when we're talking about Islam, man.
Okay, we won't say the word minor. He did a kind of secondary line of inquiry into classical Arabic language. He then earned a master's degree. Yes, he's your master degree in history and philosophy of religion from the same university. Additionally, he's a graduate of Baina Dream Program and the Kalam Seminary. Dr. Nasser completed his PhD at the International Islamic University of Malaysia. He is now the resident scholar of Al Huda Masjid in Indiana and is one of Al Maghrib's instructors. That's good to know. So, this guy is very well educated and the perfect person. Wait, did that say background in philosophy? History and philosophy related. Okay, so he knows logic and so on. And that way he will know some fallacies if he happens to commit some. I only saw a little bit of this, guys. I watched maybe the first 10 minutes, and it was just annoying trying to get him to answer whether it would be acceptable for him to call Allah Father in a metaphorical sense. So, and he just kept kind of going around in circles and stuff and not answering. But anyway, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Not in the Zoot sense. We're gonna get to the bottom of this because I saw that, and I've seen a couple clips circulating on X. Couple clips circulating on X. All right, now we have AP, and he removed his inappropriate displays of U.S. and U.K. flags, and is now all that he has now is black behind him, and thus represents the black flag of ISIS. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know.
That's true. I saw I only saw a clip or two of that conversation. I didn't really see the whole thing yet. I didn't really check it out. Wait, I'll be right back. Hang on a second. You continue.
This is how AP's streams are going to be now. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Here's your pizza. Ding dong, ding dong. What the heck, man? What the heck? Let me just share this on X that we're live. We're live. Boom and boom. All right, so now AP's live streams will apparently be repeatedly interrupted by packages and so on being delivered, not delivered as they were delivered to Muhammad on the night of Al-Zut, but you guys understand. All right, I guess we'll wait for AP to get back. I'll take these first couple super chats until AP finally rejoins our live stream. Post-Belfast incident, how much longer UK has till civil war? Well, you've had people get really ticked off over things in the past, and then it dies down after a couple days. But it does seem like tensions are boiling more and more, and so you wonder how long before things actually change. The insane part is these are still democracies, right? I mean, they're kind of modified democracies and so on, but people still vote for their leaders in these places. So you just need enough people getting ticked off about something to say we're getting leaders who actually are going to do something that benefits us for once in our entire lives. But we'll see. TikTok, time to leave Muhammad's flock. That's a good idea. Hey, I invite all Muslims who are watching to leave Islam. This would be a good time. There's two ways we can do this, ladies and gentlemen. The easy way or the hard way. The easy way is you guys just all renounce Islam right now. The hard way is we continue exposing your prophet and your book and all of your claims, leaving you naked and defeated. You see the difference? Like, you could just leave now, and you would retain your honor. You would retain your honor as an apostate. But if you just wait and you kick and scream and kick and scream and kick and scream, and then you leave only after it's like that's your only option and stuff like that, because it's just been so thoroughly crushed that it's a laughing stock of the entire world, well, you can still leave, but you will not retain your honor at that point. Hey, what's up?
That's correct. Oh, the Zoot police were at the door.
Oh, yeah. Gotta watch out for those dudes. TikTok, time to flock to the Lord, you dirty stone kissers. What's wrong with you? AP and D-Wood sitting on a chair, live streaming. It says live streaming. Also AP, minor sects. Hi, D-Wood. What's wrong with you, man? We have Daniel. Hey, Daniel. But is he a medical doctor? A scientific thing? Yeah. A medical doctor? I thought you were saying medical first. But is he a medical doctor? A scientific thing? Yeah, he's not.
And here's a scientific thing.
He's not a doctor in the most relevant sense of being a medical doctor, never practicing, but it impresses dumb people.
It says if you eat like pig, you behave like pig.
Look at this. It's funny how Dr. Nasser's, a.k.a. Dr. Full Muslim's, biggest day was Avery's just another midweek stream. That is funny, right? So for this guy, this is the highlight of his entire career. He gets to take down one of the Christian apologists who've been wrecking dawah and show what happens when one of these one of these, what did Hijab call him? Buck tooth hillbilly redneck and all this stuff. You finally get a chance to crush and defeat one of these guys. So all future generations would know. Yeah, you may have Dawa guys getting crushed by Avery, but if he were just to face a scholar, we'll know what would happen to him. And this is going to be the perfect example. And so this was the biggest, most important day of Dr. Nasser's life. For Avery, it was Tuesday, or whatever day they debated on. All right, we ready to jump into this, AP?
Let's jump and let's dive.
Let's do
Let's
it.
dive, man.
Now, again, I watched the beginning. It was really boring because, again, it was just Avery just kept trying to get him to say, would it be acceptable for you as a Muslim to call God a father in a completely metaphorical sense? And this guy doing circles forever. But I know it got really interesting at some point after that because I saw some clips. I saw some clips on X. So we're going to check it out, and we'll have to sit through the incredibly boring stuff until we get to some good stuff. But, I mean, keep in mind, guys, even this boring back and forth because the guy won't answer, won't give a serious answer at the beginning. That's still important because you're gonna be dealing with Muslims who argue like this. But guys, this is a really important topic. Everyone, like apart from the Islamic dilemma, this is pretty much the most important thing Christians need to learn about interacting with Muslims, because all Muslims are going to say,
Yeah.
Jesus was a Muslim. That's part of their religion. It sounds really weird to you because you're a Christian. And when you challenge them on that and say, hey, your religion says Jesus was a Muslim, what sense does that make? They've got their little tricks that they use. Once you learn those tricks, and once you're able to expose the fallacies they're committing with those tricks, then you can make that crumble. But guess what? This is essential to their religion. If Jesus was not if you just learned this one issue, if you mastered this one issue and could crush them on the topic, was Jesus a Muslim, and show that Jesus most definitely was not a Muslim, if you just crush them on that one, guess what? You win. You win, because it's foundational to Islam. All right, let's go ahead and check this out.
Was Jesus a Muslim?
No.
No.
Obviously, I'm a Christian. I say no. I think that it's very misleading what I usually hear about what a Muslim is, and then trying to apply it to Jesus and, prophets before Muhammad. I think that we could start with however Dr. Nasser defines what a Muslim to be, and then we can go from there.
Sure.
What do you mean?
Sorry. What I would say is that
What's a debate? What's a Muslim? What's a
What do you
debate? What's a
mean by
Muslim? You see. Let me get this positioned here. All right. So, and by the way, guys, great start, right? Take notes, guys. Take notes on how Avery interacts. He says, hey, sounds really weird to me to talk about someone being the religion that started in 7th century Arabia. Now, we know they believe it started way before that, but they need to explain these things. And also important, what he did right here from the jump. What do you mean by a Muslim? If you're saying Jesus was a Muslim, what do you mean? Define what you mean.
yes, of course, I believe that Jesus, alayhi salam, peace be upon him, was a Muslim. And the reason I would say that is because, in my perspective, you have two possibilities. If you want to take from the world religions in which actually believe in Jesus, Islam and Christianity. And obviously, if you take the Quran as authoritative, then you're going to come to the conclusion that he's Muslim because he was a prophet of God and he therefore lived as prophets would. That being said, though, if you want to just look at the Bible, I do believe that you are...
What?
He said prophet would. Did you catch that?
Might need to clip that. Hang on.
But anyway,
What?
what he also says here is, of course, that there are two religions which believe in Jesus, Christianity and Islam. There aren't two religions which believe in Jesus. There's only one religion or one faith that believes in Jesus. Islam does not.
Yeah, like, I believe that Muhammad existed and that he was a false prophet. Does that mean I believe in Muhammad? Like, I could say that, but... Or if you want an actual parallel, guys, I've made videos on this in the past, but if I tell a Muslim, hey, I believe in Muhammad, they say, oh, great. Yeah, I believe he was a devout Christian. What? So yeah, he's a devout Christian, Trinitarian, but later on, people corrupted his message. So I believe in Muhammad, right? They're like, no, you don't believe in Muhammad because you're wrong about Muhammad. Suddenly, that sort of thing enters into the discussion. But let's see what he wants.
I believe in Muhammad too. I just think that Muslims have significantly corrupted Muhammad's message. And in reality, Muhammad was a very, very good guy. He was super gay, but he was also a good guy in general. So
yeah, we believe he got zooted in the desert. He got zooted. Yeah. He got zooted. See, so we believe in Muhammad too. We believe he was the boy toy of the men of Al-Zut. So we believe in him, right? That's what I mean. Guys, can you just say I believe in someone and it doesn't matter what you actually believe or whether it's correct. It's just I believe in him. Therefore, we're all on the same side here. Come on, be realistic. All right. Let's see him say Prophet would.
Take the Quran as authoritative, then you're going to come to the conclusion that he's Muslim because he was a prophet of God and he therefore lived as prophets would.
No, he said prophets would. It's not going to work, man, unless he's talking about like me and one of my sons or something. But anyway.
Said though, if you want to just look at the Bible, I do believe that you are not going to walk.
Or if he's talking about Muhammad's extraordinarily small member.
The prophets would. Okay. That works.
Away unscathed either way. In other, what I'm trying to say by that is that either you're going to take a Muslim Jesus or a Christian Jesus, and you're going to have to navigate the Bible in such a way where you're not going to walk away with all of it, because I don't assume univocality. And so from that perspective, what I would say is that if you take the Muslim version of Jesus, what you're going to get is you're going to be able to salvage so much of the Bible. So much of it will make sense to you. So much of it will be very clear that he was a prophet, that he prayed to God, that he worshiped God, that he taught people to worship God, etc. There's a day of judgment, the 6 pillars of Iman, things like this. However, in addition to that, you'll also have the added bonus of having a theology that makes sense to you. On the flip side, if you embrace the Christian version of Jesus, what I think is going to happen is you're going to end up twisting or denying, essentially twisting to a point where there's no more meaning left. They become unrecognizable, certain verses, certain ideas. And then, in addition to that, even once you're done with all that twisting, you're still going to be stuck with a theology that doesn't make sense to you. So therefore, of those two options, it makes a lot more sense to embrace the Muslim.
Just to keep the conversation like kind of concise, he asked like, what is a Muslim? Can you define that?
You know what I find so funny? They like to talk about how if you want to be a Christian, you have to twist and misinterpret and misrepresent things and all that, and corrupt things. Yet his entire position on Jesus, the Islam's entire adoption of Jesus, completely relies on taking the words of and the history and the life of Jesus and corrupting the message, twisting everything. Twisting it all, corrupting it all, lying about it all, messing it all up. That's what Islam relies on when it comes to Jesus. Corrupting the message of Jesus, twisting the message of Jesus, twisting and corrupting the life of Jesus, and so on and so forth. So this is very, very ironic.
Oh, it's ironic, all right. Sorry, guys.
But where did we go?
My camera shut down. It does that periodically. I told people repeatedly, I have a new one. I just have not put it, just not set it up yet. Got to do that
man?
here.
Hey, what's up?
A couple days.
Lock
Welcome to the AP show. Welcome to the AP show. Ha ha! Yeah, suckers, I'm back. All right, had to restart the camera there. Annoying. All right, let's jump back into this. So he said a bunch of things. Simple question. What's a Muslim?
Linguistically, a Muslim is one who submits to God Almighty. Okay.
Wrong already. This is another point that people don't use enough. People do not use this response enough, right? Because they want to start going, well, linguistically, he's already in fallacy range. This would be a version, this would be a couple things. One, there's the fallacy of equivocation. That's where you're changing the meaning of words as you use them. So it's very clear what Muslims mean when they say Jesus was a Muslim. They mean Jesus was a follower and a prophet of their religion, of the same religion taught by Muhammad. When you challenge them on this and say, wait a minute, Jesus wasn't a Muslim because look at all these things he taught that don't line up with Islam, they go, oh, no. the word Muslim just means one who submits to God. Jesus submitted to the Father, therefore, he's a Muslim in that sense. So that's equivocation. They're changing the meaning of words as they go along. But also, you've got the etymological fallacy. That's, the technical meaning of this term is one who submits to God. And therefore, this would apply to Jesus, even though what they really want is the broader meaning of an adherent of their religion and so on. So you got those kind of problems. But even when they try to get technical and say, well, etymologically, the word means one who submits to God. No, it doesn't. It means one who submits. It means submitter. So, if you're just going to get technical and say, well, the word officially means this, okay, anyone who submits to anyone or anything else is a Muslim in that sense. Someone who's into some of that weird stuff that whatever hijab is into when he's talking about golden showers and all this stuff and that weird submission stuff where you're submitting to some pervert and so on, that makes you a Muslim in this sense. Anyone who submits to a government authority, any person who submits to another person, if you submit to your boss, you're a Muslim in the sense of the word, if you just want to be technical about the meaning of the word. This needs to get pointed out, guys, when people, it just means someone who submits to God. Therefore, anyone who submits to God is a Muslim. No, it means anyone who submits, period. So therefore, anyone who submits, even if he's an atheist, even if he's a devil worshiper and he says, I submit to Shaitan, then he's a Muslim. So don't let them slide on this stuff. But anyway.
So David is saying that everyone who engages in sexual submissive fantasies is a Muslim.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Now, of course, you could say that Islam as a religion would be the religion of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So I understand that there is we can get into that in a moment. Is that what you want to clarify?
Yeah, basically, because when, like what you just said, you said that you would define a Muslim as one who submits their will to God, but there's a lot of people who believe they submit their will to God, and you would say they're not Muslim.
Correct.
So when you say a Muslim is one who submits their will to God, you're talking about a specific God. You have a specific ideology of God. You can't bow to a statue and and be a Muslim. You can't bow to your mother and think that your mom is God and be a Muslim. I can't bow to Jesus, believe he's God, and I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's important for us to clarify what you mean by God when you say a Muslim is one who submits to God. That's specifically the God of Islam, the God of the Quran and the Hadith.
The all-powerful creator of the universe.
And
Right.
just for clarification,
Yeah.
can someone be Muslim, submit themselves to God, but then not think that Muhammad was a prophet?
So after the time of the prophet, just like in the same way at the time of any prophet, you have to recognize the prophets that exist at your time or before you.
Okay.
Right? So now that we're living in this time, obviously the Prophet Muhammad came and established his whole religion, etc., the religion of Islam. So obviously you have to accept that. But at the time of Jesus, it was accepting the Prophet Jesus. And at the time of Moses, accepting the Prophet Moses, and so on and so forth. But all of them taught the same message, that God, the all-powerful creator of the universe, is one God.
Got it.
And he doesn't even realize how completely incoherent he's being right now. So he said it's just submitting to God. Anyone who submits to God is a Muslim.
Uh-huh.
And then,
So that means all I have to do is to submit to God, right?
Yeah, in theory, right? But then he was asked, hey, so could I submit to God without believing Muhammad? No, not after Muhammad. And not after any prophet. After any prophet has come along, you also have to believe in that prophet. Oh, so now you're getting into specifics here. It's not just submitting to one God. You also have to submit to him by believing in the prophets he sent. Oh, and by believing in their revelations, let me guess. Oh, and by believing everything. Oh, so now it's this big package deal of things that you have to believe, right? Why do you just say believe it? It's just belief in one God. Why did you define it that way? When you knew it also required all these other things. And that if I said, I submit to the one God, and the one God is my cup, my mug right here. It created the entire universe. I'm submitting to the one creator of the universe, my cup. Would he think I'm a Muslim? No. Why? Because he also believes you have to do all these other things. You just have to get him to say it. So Yeah, fortunately, he now acknowledged, no, you have to actually believe in a ton of things. Let's see.
You have
He's
to.
also presenting that Muslim perspective, which is people might miss that if they do not exactly understand how Muslims think about what a prophet is. In Islam, a prophet is somebody who comes along and whom all of the community must then follow because he has brought a new message, and that's just how it works. So if a prophet comes at some point in time in the Bible, then all people are required to believe in him, and if they do not do that, then they are disbelievers. That is not really how the situation is in the Bible. That is not really how it is in the history of the prophets. This is an Islamic idea. It's an Islamic concept. And it is known that lots of prophets were not recognized in their own time. It is prophets weren't these guys like where God decrees all alive must follow and obey this prophet as he is now on earth, and all who refuse to do so shall be called disbelievers. This is nonsense. This isn't the Islamic way of describing things, and it is stupid, and it appears very stupid because Islam is quite stupid, and Islam quite stupidly and ignorantly adopts parts of the Bible and the concepts of the prophets, and then tries to put its Islamic spin on it. That's why it sounds so ridiculously stupid. That's why it doesn't sound recognizable. That is basically what he was just doing here, right?
Mm-hmm. And guys, so this isn't just your Dawa guys or your Muslim friends. This goes all the way up to their scholars. It doesn't get any better. In other words, let me put it this way: if you ask just some regular Christian that you see in church a question, you'll get one level. Like if you have some serious issue, something that's really confusing to you, you'll get one level of answer. If you go to an apologist, you'll probably get a better answer. If you go to a scholar who's mastered the field, you'll get a better answer. If the more knowledge people have on an issue, generally the better they would respond. You get to Islam, and the answers don't get better. The answers don't get better than what you'd hear from. What's your average Muslim going to say? Your random Muslim on the street says Jesus was a Muslim. You go, no, he wasn't a Muslim. It doesn't even make any sense. I go, Muslim is just one who submits to God. Didn't he submit to God? You get the exact same answer. That's crazy. Look here, we have lol package because I said Islam is a package deal. Yeah, guys, this is an example of equivocation, right? You could be using the meaning of a term in two ways. So it makes perfect sense for me to say, hey, if you believe in Islam, you have to believe in like the whole package of Islam, right? And the Muslim will say yes, and I'll say, oh, okay, so it's a package deal, right? And I say yes, and I say, oh, so you admit that Muhammad got the packages of the men of Al-Zut delivered into his butt? No, that would be me changing how I'm using a word, right? I could do it, but you know, how seriously are people gonna say it? Look, and then we got submit 30 times in a row. Yeah, so if a Muslim is just one who submits, and Muhammad submitted 30 times in a row to the men of Al-Zut, is that why he's a Muslim? You're gonna say that's why he's a Muslim because he submitted to them?
Wait, this morning I submitted a document to the government because I moved. Does that mean I'm a Muslim?
Yeah, and someone just brought up the same thing here. Someone said, I just submitted an application. Am I a Muslim now? Yes. Muslim is one who submits. You guys both submitted an application. So, congratulations. You're no longer an apostate now.
Allahu Akbar.
All right, we all got this? All right, let's jump back into this. Not in the Zut sense.
Accept that you have to submit yourself to God, and you have to accept all the prophets to be Muslim.
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so again, though, submit your will to what God are you talking about specifically? Because when you apply this to the prophets, right? Obviously, Islam claims Moses, Abraham, and stuff like that. But the theology of who God is in the Quran, that's who you're talking about. It can't be anything out. Like, for example, can you believe in a God? Can you believe in the prophets? Can you believe that God, the all-powerful creator, sent the prophets and believe in these prophets, believe in their message, but believe that God is a woman and be a Muslim?
Excellent. So I assume, let's go with father first, right?
No, a woman.
Oh, is a woman? No, of course not. No.
Okay. Not. And why is that?
Because
did you catch that, guys? It's important what Avery's doing here. We're gonna let him cook here. I just want to highlight the significance of some of these questions, right? Because this guy's pointing out, no, Muslim's just one who submits to the creator of the universe. Okay, so if I submit to the creator of the universe, but I believe the creator of the universe is a woman, Am I still a Muslim? No. Guy just, no, can't believe that. Okay, so it's the ultimate direction you're going into is even when they're saying submit to God, they mean a ton of things by that. And guess what? When you look at what Jesus actually taught and did, it does not line up with their requirements of what a Muslim is. But they'll say it in this extremely loose and vague way, not loose like Muhammad after the night of Al-Zur, but they'll just say, oh, it's just this. It's just this. It's not just that. It's just one who submits to God. It's not just that. It's one who submits to this God with all these descriptions and believes in all these things and believes in all these prophets and believes in all these revelations and believes in all these doctrines and so on. They won't say that out the gate. You have to get them to say it because that's what destroys their claim.
God is not a man.
All right, so you have a specific ideology
Or
of who
human, I
God
should
is.
say. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so you have a specific theology of who God is. You have to believe in that specific thing, that specific ideology, in order to be a Muslim.
You have to believe that God is one and is not a human creation, not an idol, not a plant, not a man, not a human woman, not anything
Can you
like that.
believe that he's anything outside of what the Quran and Hadith tell you?
No, you have to believe in God as described in the names.
Did you catch that? It's just submission to one God. Can you believe in anything that isn't revealed in the Quran and the Hadith? No. Okay, so now you're making a ton of you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of requirements for what it takes to actually believe in the one God. Okay. But he's already totally cooked, right? Because now all you have to do is show that Jesus believes something that contradicts the Quran and the Hadith, which you can do all day, every day. You can do that all day long. But notice, Avery's setting him up for later. You could tell right now, Avery's setting him up. He's getting him to grant things which will destroy him later in the discussion. Smart.
Allah, yeah,
Right,
attributes and names, attributes of Allah.
Good.
Definitely.
So what we can do now here is we've got that foundation. Now let's apply it to Jesus.
Sure.
And let's see if Jesus had that theology. Does he teach, preach, follow, believe in the same God that we see in the Quran and the Hadith?
Excellent.
And so how would you
Yeah.
demonstrate that?
So you guys are aware that I think it's Proverbs 18.
You catch that, guys? You catch that? Avery got him in just a couple of minutes to go from just belief in one God. It's just submitting to one God to submitting to God who has all the descriptions and all the requirements as revealed in the Quran and the Hadith. In other words, that particular God who is defined in all these ways and has taught all these things and has sent all these different prophets that you have to believe in. He's already done. It's done. The rest of the entire debate is just showing what he just did to himself.
I think it is, that says, Yahweh, you are my rock, right?
You said Proverbs 18?
I think so.
Can we?
Am I wrong with that? Or Psalms,
Can we-
Psalms 18, my bad.
Psalms 18?
My bad. I believe it's Psalms 18.
There's a few verses in there. that
Yeah,
say
so
he's a rock.
Yahweh, you are my rock, right? So what I would do in that circumstance, if somebody says, Yahweh, you are my rock, I would say, I reject that. I put a big X on the idea that God is a rock, like you said, because it.
No, you wouldn't. You'd say, where is this rock so I can go kiss it? And yes, let's make it the center of our worship and let's pray towards it and let's climb over top of each other so we can smooch it. That's what you would do. And don't tell me you wouldn't.
Goes against our theology. It is not defined in our names and attributes of God. I reject the idea of God being a rock. Now, I assume that person is going to say, wait, we don't believe that God is a rock either. So I'd say, okay, well then why would you call God a rock? They say it's figurative. I'd say, great. This is the important part. Figurative for what? So now we have to shift over to figurative for what? So we leave the literal meaning, and now we're shifting over here to this mystery box called the figurative meaning. Okay. And the moment we open that mystery box, I say, figurative for what? And they say, well, we say God, meaning that we depend upon God. I would say, one of the names of Allah is Al-Wakil, the one that you depend upon. So while I affirm that meaning that you have clarified, I will reject your wording. So now let's apply that to Father.
Wait.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So can you be a Muslim and say that Allah is my rock?
No, you reject
There goes David.
the wording. You reject that. I do not accept this idea of rock. The moment you tell me, though, that I don't accept it either, I don't think of God as an actual rock. I say, well, what do you mean then?
Yeah.
And the figurative meaning is the one that you depend upon. I say, that is the part that we agree about, not the rock.
So if they say that Allah is my rock, meaning that he's the one I depend upon, I stand upon him, he's my foundation, you would still reject saying that Allah is your rock.
I would not use that terminology. I use the terminology in the Quran.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we're just,
Yeah.
So guys, this is why I say it gets boring for a little while, because he's basically allowing that different cultures can say things about God that he wouldn't say about God, but that what he's interested in is, if you say, let's say God is my rock, and he says, what? God's not a rock? This is the only rock that we venerate here. And then he'd have a problem with that, right? Until you explain to him, oh, what we mean is, God is our refuge or something like that. And you say, oh, okay, well, then I'll just stick with the name of Allah that corresponds to what you're actually saying. And then, so he's doing that over and over again. And he does that even with God being a father. And he says he wouldn't say that. But Avery keeps pushing him, okay, would you be allowed, could you, if you wanted to, call Allah your rock, understanding it completely metaphorically? Could you refer to Allah as Father? And he keeps saying, no. But guess what?
That's a very good strategy.
That's what those are the things various prophets and even Jesus said about God. And so Jesus spoke to his Father, right? So what are you going to do with this stuff? Let's see.
Avery is a smart guy, man. It's a very good strategy, a very good way of approaching this. He has a very good strategy. He exactly knows how to play this, how to go forth, how to catch them. Gotta catch them all. I'm kind of stuck on the fact that he actually has such a big problem with calling God my rock, which is kind of fun.
And so, guys, yeah, see, people just want to jump right in. There's a reason he goes by Chef Logic. He's cooking up a recipe, right? Right?
Yeah.
Need a recipe. You want some delicious, I don't know, what's a fancy food? Rack of lamb or something like that. It doesn't just come that way, right? You got to get the right meat, not in the zoot sense, but you got to get the right thing. You got to figure out what seasonings and stuff. You got to figure out how to cook it step by step by step. And the delicious rack of lamb is at the end. That's at the end, right? That's at the end. But you got to pay attention to the process. If you want to repeat the recipe of cooking the delicious rack of lamb, you got to learn the recipe. He's teaching you the recipe right now. Learn the recipe, because if he can crush this guy, what chance does your local Dawa guy have at the Dawa booth, right?
You can go to Father now.
So now, in terms of Father, I understand that the Jews, which exist till today, they would explain that, the Israelites, and Jesus was an Israelite speaking to an Israelite audience.
Yeah.
So if he's going to use language, we're going to ask, okay, what does this language mean? So whether it be the Jews before Jesus talking about Father as a creator, because oftentimes it says, he is my Father, comma, our creator. That's a few times in the Bible. And so it seems to be Father in a figurative sense. Now, I know even after Jesus, 1 John 3:10, what does it say? It says, it's just describing that the believers are children of God and that the evil people are children of the devil. We're not talking about the devil giving birth here. We're talking about figuratively speaking. So the moment you clarify this and explain that, listen, culturally, when I say rock, that's within our culture. We know what we're talking about. I say, well, I'm not from that culture, so I'm going to use Islamic terminology that is universal. And as long as you clarify the meaning, then I got no problem with that. And so the same thing with Father. If somebody says God is our Father, I say, well, we don't use that language. And you say, well, don't worry, we're talking within our context. It has a meaning. Figurative for what? If you say the one that is a creator, he is loving, he's going to do tarbiyah or build you up in such a way where you reach your max potential, that is a Rabb. So he does tarbiyah. So these are all names of Allah, so we accept all of these meanings.
So is Allah a father then, in any sense?
Okay, no problem. This is why I don't.
One problem here. Noah, servant of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Alhamdulillah, for Islam, we worship one God, Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, not three. Jesus is Muslim. So Jesus is Muslim. So Noah, servant of Allah. Would a devout Muslim prophet call himself the Son of God?
No.
And even let's say in a metaphorical sense, that's not what Jesus meant, but in a metaphorical sense of I'm a creation of the Father who is only Father in a creator sense. Come on, we actually paused the debate for you. We actually paused the debate to get your valuable insights and input, just like Muhammad paused for some input on the night of Al-Sad. You brought this on yourself by running your mouth. Now answer the question. Would a devout Muslim prophet in any culture, because he's talking about different cultures and so on, in any culture, would a devout Muslim prophet call himself the Son of God? We're not going to wait forever. All right, maybe this person is not actually paying the slightest bit of attention, is just showing up and trolling. We'll watch some more. Guys, let me know if the person, if Noah, servant of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, answers the simple question I've asked him.
I usually talk with my hands so much, but I figured you'd try to, so maybe you guys can join me on this. We reject the literal calling, because
I said any sense.
So let me explain. So if you say it in a literal way, then obviously the idea of being a father is that you're having children, and passing on your nature is to pass on your independent nature. Now, the moment you create something that's independent, it's dependent. So now you have an independent dependent, it doesn't make sense. So we reject that notion of literal. But the moment you clarify that, like the Jews would, like the Israelites would, they would say, obviously we don't call ourselves literally the children of God. This is our culture, this is our figurative language. Figurative for what? You open that up, you see the mystery box, and you find certain meanings that are in line with Islam. We say, perfect, that's what we affirm.
So you affirm that Allah is a father in some sense.
Let's do it again. Let's run it back. I can see you're not getting it. I
really am not.
Check it out. No problem.
Yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, look, there's two sides. This side is the literal meaning.
He's getting what you're saying. You're not answering his question, dude. He's getting what you're saying. What you're saying does not answer him.
There's a big X
I
on
said
it.
any sense. So that includes metaphorical and figurative. Is he a father in any sense of the word?
I'm explaining it to you. I don't accept the word father.
Okay.
Good. Now, when you say it's figurative, since I reject the word, you have to define figurative for what?
No, I don't, because I said,
Great. Then don't.
Dr. Nasser, any sense. That means any definition, any meaning, whether it's figurative, any figurative meaning, any metaphorical meaning. Is there any sense of father that you can apply to Allah?
So you refuse to define your terms, is what you're saying. So then,
I don't have to. Look, brother.
Yeah, sure.
When I say any sense, that means whatever you can think of, and how you define father, think of it. Does that apply to Allah? Yes or no?
Perfect. Is God a rock in any sense?
Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? He went Korah. You weren't following a lot of discussions with Korah. Anything anyone would say, they could even be saying, and therefore Muhammad is a completely false prophet. And she'd go, okay, perfect. And he's doing the same thing. Perfect. That's weird. Weird stuff.
He's our foundation.
He's your foundation. Okay,
Yeah.
so you
see how I can say yes?
So
Now,
you
your turn.
believe that God is a rock?
I believe that Yahweh is my rock.
Figuratively?
Yeah, yes.
Figuratively, as
Yes.
in foundation?
I just said that.
With that definition?
I
I accept that definition as well.
Okay, good.
I
So
reject the word rock because I don't believe God is a rock.
then you don't believe. Then you're not affirming what we're saying.
You really don't understand what I'm saying?
I do. Look, this is what you're saying.
I have trouble believing you're not getting it.
Let me say it. Let me still man your point.
Hold on, guys. Did you know that over 80% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed? And that's the best way to support this channel.
That's actually funny, man. He acts like he's saying it to them. That's actually a cool way to do promos for your channel and stuff. That's funny.
So let's give the audience a second to subscribe. And if they want to financially support us, they could become a member. All right, now let's get back to the discussion.
Sure.
Matter of fact, guys, I didn't put the link. I didn't include the entire video in the description. I'll add it for anyone who does want to subscribe to the channel because he is hosting some awesome debates here. So,
Point is, we reject the terminology, but we can extract a meaning that is correct or proper.
Not we can. Not that we can. That the culture does.
Bro, I'm talking to you. you just explained to me and broke down.
Let me help you out. Go ahead.
You just explained to me and broke down, and you emphasized how it's like, okay, I got to do this again. I got to do this again.
Yep.
I just repeated to you what you just said to me. You said, nope, that's just the culture. I'm talking, look, a Muslim, you're Dr. Nasser, Muslim. Is there any sense in which the term father or meaning of father can be applied to Allah?
Good.
Yes or no?
Got it. Now, let's say I'm walking in the middle of, I don't know, some new forest, okay? And I come across a tribe of people.
Is there any sense, right? Guys, I'm not sure if it's officially like a fallacy. Is there a yes-no fallacy? Let me see. Is that officially labeled a fallacy? Yes, no fallacy. It should be if it's not. Oh, it's actually called the yes or no fallacy. Okay. Formerly known, this was not taught in logic when I was learning logic, but formerly known as a loaded question or complex question. Okay, yeah, that's I've seen that before. Occurs when an argument requires a simple yes or no answer, but forces the respondent to inadvertently accept a hidden, unproven assumption. So this would be like, hey, dude, do you smile when you torture puppies for fun? Yes or no? Do you smile?
No.
Oh, see, so you admit you torture puppies for fun, but you don't smile. Okay, now we know, right? So those are situations where someone, yes or no, and you say, no. Let's clarify things. But if someone's just saying, is there any sense at all in which you can say that? That's kind of a yes or no. That's kind of a yes or no question. That's not the fallacious yes or no, and he won't answer. Yes or no? Now, imagine I'm walking through the woods and I find a mystery tribe. All right, let's see.
And I don't know how they use certain terms. I know how I use it. Mm-hmm. And they tell me that God is a rock or a father or something else. Anything that does not comply with the names of Allah. Instead of me telling them just that, no, I know exactly how you mean it because I know what's in your head. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, look, I know what I mean. Father is a word that has a meaning. It means that you're giving birth.
What's up?
You see what he's doing here? He's actually, it is clear as day at this point, he's refusing to answer the question. He's not answering the question that was being asked. He's answering a different question. With his long-winded explanation, he's actually answering a different question. GodLogic's question was very clear to you. Is Allah in any sense a father? Now he's once again talking about how Allah or God may be in some sense a father to these people in this certain culture that I have just encountered. He's still not answering the very simple question. The question is to you. Why is this so difficult? Gosh.
And again, guys, I mean, he can give more examples and so on, and more thought experiments. The answers do not get better as you go up the chain to their best scholars and so on. The answers are exactly the same. And so now he's going to give yet another example of how, these people may be using a word in a certain way that's metaphorical. And Avery's just, okay, once you understand it's metaphorical, is it okay to talk like that? Is it okay for you to talk like that, understanding that it's metaphorical? And he'll ask
to you.
Yeah, that's it.
Because okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Now let me explain. If I encounter a different culture, gosh.
Yeah, and so the result is Avery needs him to say, no, you just can't say this stuff about God. Okay, here's Jesus saying this stuff about God, not a Muslim. So anyway, sometimes you got to spend a lot of time laying the groundwork. Just ask the men of all. Why, man? Why'd they make it so easy with the zit jokes, man? Why?
Hey, go a few seconds back, though.
A few seconds back.
You mean it because I know what's in your head. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, look, I know what I mean. Father is a word that has a meaning. It means that you're giving birth to somebody based on passing on your nature. It means that you have sexual or reproductive organs. So believe me, I reject all that. God does not have any sort of reproductive organs where he's having babies. Okay? I reject all of that. Now.
So a father is somebody who gives birth? That's very interesting.
Hold on.
Anyway, continue.
I mean it because I know what's in your head. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, look, I know what I mean. Father is a word that has a meaning. It means that you're giving birth to somebody based on passing on your nature. It means that you have sexual or reproductive organs.
You know who needs to clip this? The trans community. You see, even Muslims now admit that a father is someone who gives birth. Even the Muslims are finally on our side.
So believe me, I reject all that. God does
LGBTQ plus positive.
not have any sort of reproductive organs where he's having babies, okay? I reject all of that. Now, if they are the ones, not me, if they are the ones that want to clarify, we don't actually think of God as a literal father making actual babies in that sense, I'll say you can go ahead and clarify what you mean. And the moment they use a definition that is in line with the names of God, I will let them know those are names of God in Islam.
Okay.
Why is that complicated?
All right. So the descriptions that you use, the meaning of father, let's say they use father in the sense of creator, sustainer.
Or birth giver, following Dr. Nasser's understanding of what a father is.
So you can affirm, like, oh yeah, that's good. These
He's a birthing father.
are descriptions of Allah.
Yes.
So then can you then apply that and say, yeah, Allah, you are the father in the sense that you are my creator and sustainer.
So, and since I don't use those terms because I'm not from that culture, I will say, guys, I understand your words. I don't need to adopt your language.
That's not what I asked. I didn't ask if you need to adopt it. I asked, as a Muslim, can you be a Muslim and affirm that Allah is your father in the sense that he's your creator and sustainer?
As a creator, if you are using this term to strictly define God as a creator and sustainer, I will let them know I fully agree with those names while I'm not interested in your terminology.
Okay, so I'm being very clear.
But that was not good enough?
No, it wasn't. Because I'm
What's
not.
up?
So that means that if somebody from a different culture converts to Islam, and they refer to, and they mean and they like to use the word I don't know, Allah is my big sister, and that to them means like a big sister, then they can continue doing that. He just won't accept it, but they can continue doing it, and it's perfectly fine for him. Got it.
Yep. That's what he's going with, guys.
Got it.
That's what he's going with. All right, let's see.
Asking what
Could you give a yes or no answer?
Yes.
Is that
So,
possible?
Just really quick, because I'm gonna.
I will not use that term, and once it's explained, I will affirm which parts of the explanation I affirm. And in terms of the literal wording, I am not interested in adopting your language.
Yeah, that's
Why?
no.
That's
Yes, what's wrong
Okay,
with that?
I'm just trying to move the conversation forward. I'm just
got
trying
you.
to.
So it's a no. It's a no. You cannot be a Muslim and affirm that Allah is your father, even in a sense that he's your creator and sustainer. Correct?
What?
All you had to do was say yes, dude. You can't do it. He's trying. He's smart enough to realize that Avery is setting him up for things later by getting him to grant things that will ultimately destroy. Because that's what happens. Islam has an incoherent case. You have to get them to unpack what they actually mean by Muslim and this and that and submitting to one God. You have to get them to unpack that. Once you get them to do that, you take everything they just said and you destroy their case. He knows Avery is trying to get him to unpack what he means and that he's going to use it to destroy him. So he just doesn't want to answer on some of these things. What? He just said it. What?
You just said he can't do it.
You know, you just shifted. You just said even
why
in
I
the
was being
sense
very specific.
No, even in the sense that you are using it in these definitions.
Creator and sustainer.
Yeah, so I affirm those definitions.
So do you
I'm not
affirm-
interested in
do-
using I'm not interested in using your terminology.
So this is why we're stuck here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
Are you seriously not getting this?
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but I'm just
Okay,
trying
let me
to-
I'll make it real easy for you.
No, please.
Okay, you don't want to let
Because
that's fine.
I
go
want
ahead.
you to know.
Take your time.
I think we all understand what you're saying.
Yeah, we all understand
We
what you're
understand
saying.
what you're saying.
That's what I said earlier. I said, everyone understands what you're saying. You're not answering his simple question.
Go for it.
But what you're saying is not answering my question. I'm not asking what you're interested in using. I'm not asking if it's your
He's not asking for your preferred terminology. He's asking, are you allowed as a Muslim? Is a Muslim allowed to use terms like father? Apply that term to God, even when you understand this is purely metaphorical. Are you allowed to use the term? Because if you say no, you're cooked already. That's why he doesn't want to answer.
Preference to use this type of terminology. I'm asking, as a Muslim, can you affirm whether or not Allah is can you affirm that Allah is your father in the sense that he is your creator and sustainer? Can you, yes or no?
I don't use that terminology.
I didn't ask if you use it. Can you?
Yes or no?
God,
Can
this
you?
guy's-
I don't use that terminology. We're not asking about your personal preferences, dude.
I would rephrase the question. Oh, yeah, I think he's doing it right now. Can a Muslim do it? Not can you. He might be taking the can you in the wrong sense. So can a Muslim do it?
Can you? Can you? The guy says the horse. Can you?
Do that.
Am I allowed to use that terminology?
As a Muslim?
Definitely not today, because we're not in that culture.
Okay.
Now he wants to say not today, but he wants, and oh my goodness, and he said because we're not part of that culture. Christians are. So what if a Christian converts to Islam? But in the Christian's culture, you refer to God as Father. What? Are you allowed to do it? And by the way, the answer is no, guys. The answer is no. I guarantee this guy, even though he's saying, oh, cultures differ and how they use terms, you go to the classical Muslim commentators, you go to Qurtubi, matter of fact, I mean, he could be like setting him up to actually quote what Muslim scholars have said about this. You go to the classical Muslim commentators, it would get brought up to them about Christians referring to God as Father or Christians referring to Jesus as the Son. And it would get brought up, hey, what if all they mean when they call Jesus the Son is that he's reflecting God's will by what he's doing and teaching? Would that be okay? Qurtubi said, no, kufr. Kufr. You'd be a kafir for saying you could call God. Even in a previous culture, you'd be a kafir for calling God Father in any sense, even in a metaphorical sense. That's why this new generation of now scholars and Dawa guys, they would have all kinds of problems if they were dealing with actual classical Muslim scholars, because you're not allowed to do this. Little side note, guys, we've pointed this out before. It's the Islamic dilemma that pushed them in this direction.
Yeah.
It's the Islamic dilemma. It's us showing that because if you go back 10 years, they're not saying, oh, of course, God could be a father, in biblical times and stuff. No. But now that we started pushing the Islamic dilemma, showing that their scriptures affirm our scriptures, they've been pushed into trying to respond in different ways. And one of their main ways of responding is it's just affirming like the general teachings and themes of the Bible, not every specific little verse. Okay, one of the big general themes of the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, you're talking about the Torah, you're talking about the prophets, you're talking about the Psalms, you're talking about the gospel, you're everywhere, is that God is your Father. God is your Father in heaven. And so now they're forced by saying, oh, it's just affirming the general things and the general themes and stuff like that. They're forced to start saying, oh, well, it was okay back then, but it's not okay now. Classical scholars, no, it was never okay. And you're an unbeliever. You're an unbeliever if you say it was. So
the Quran is only affirming the general direction of the Bible.
Mm-hmm. It's affirming the trajectory. And if the trajectory continues as it is, Islam's getting cooked.
Boom, let's go with that. All right, not today, you cannot.
Yes.
So was there ever a time where you can be a Muslim and you can refer to Allah as your father in the sense that he's your creator and sustainer?
In the time of the Israelites when they used that terminology and they all knew what they were talking about, yeah.
Okay, so yes, Allah was once a father and then now he's not a father. Is that correct?
Okay, let me explain why this is
Break it down.
Quite funny.
AP, are you frozen or are you just sitting really still? Boo! I think AP's frozen, man.
So you understand very well that, so God was once a rock, but he's not a rock.
No.
Okay, so.
No, we affirm he's a rock to this day.
So am I allowed to continue my thought?
yeah. Because you misrepresented.
I'm
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, if you misrepresent me, I'll just keep cutting you off or what?
I never misrepresented you.
Okay.
I'm sure you don't think so.
Okay, let's finish.
That's
I'm
great.
sorry.
All right, go ahead, my bad.
So now what I'm trying to say is, I'll give an analogy that hopefully the Christians will appreciate. Maybe you guys will understand this.
Okay.
In English, you call him Jesus. In French, you call him Jésus. In Spanish.
Guys, we actually have a storm. AP's internet was cut. It may come back on. Sometimes it does not, and I can verify. And I also have a storm. We're not far apart, so mine may suddenly disappear at some point as well. We will just find out and see what happens. But it happens.
Call him Jesus. Am I right? Now let's come up with a hypothetical language. Let's say there's a language out there that you pronounce the name Jesus as gay. Avery, in that hypothetical situation, are you going to say Jesus is gay?
You're talking about his name?
See how childish this is?
No, it's not childish. Let me show you
Yes
why.
or no? Yes or no? Can you say the words?
Hold on. Let me
Exactly.
actually help you out with your analogy. Your analogy is not analogous because we're not talking about simply a name. We're talking about the identity of the figure.
No, you're talking about a name. You're talking about a name.
No, I'm not.
You're talking about an identifier.
Remember, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Yes, an identifier. So as an identifier, who God is, he is the Father. That's who he is theologically. A name of Jesus is not a theological issue. We're talking about your theology. So stop trying to bring up, a random word in a random language applied to Jesus. That's not analogous. We're talking about theology.
Not yet.
So if you're talking about, can you apply certain things to Jesus theologically or to God theologically that do not fit? The answer would be no. You understand what I'm saying? But so we're talking about whether or not you can refer to Allah as your Father theologically. And your answer is yes or no?
My answer is, at the time of Jesus, in a certain culture, using the term rock was well known, using the term father was well known.
Who cares?
And okay, if you don't want to hear it, that's
Using the term father is well known now. Using the term father is well known now in our culture. Dude, you live in the United States of America. Pretty common to call God Father. Pretty common, culture-wise. So if you're just saying culture, why are you denying this?
So is using the word Baal. The Israelites called God Baal too. Is that okay?
if at that time they were using terminology that was in line with a meaning that is actually comports and is incompatible with the names and attributes of God, then what's the issue?
Okay, good. So when they said that God was their husband, is that okay? Was Allah once a husband?
Great. So if I come across a people that say to me, we believe God is a husband, I will tell them, I reject that language. If they then say,
You just accepted
wait,
it.
no, I knew you were going to interrupt. That's okay. You were going to say, I reject that language because I use the word husband a certain way. If they tell me in our culture we have a certain figurative language, we do not mean husband in the sense that he has a wife. We don't mean it that way. I would say, would you like to explain? As they explain, either when we open that mystery box and take a look inside and we see that the figurative language means something else, either it's going to comport and
It's funny, he keeps saying mystery box. Every time he says mystery box, I think of the Kaaba. Once you open up that mystery box, you have a bunch of pagan nonsense in there.
be incompatible with the names of God, or it won't.
Hey, quick break from the conversation. I want to give a big shout out to Logos. So Logos is an app.
Hey, sometimes I like to cut out commercials and stuff, but yeah, Logos is good stuff, man.
That helps people study the Bible. They also have courses, books, all types of materials that can help you learn and get deeper in your faith. So Logos is offering everyone that subscribes to this channel a free 60-day subscription. So all you need to do, whether you're Catholic, Orthodox, or Protestant, go to the link in the description of this video, sign up for Logos for 60 days. It's 100% free. You could learn the Bible way better than watching YouTube videos. It could even help you break down the words that you see in your Bible all the way back to the original Greek. So again, if you want to support this page or you just want to learn and get deeper with your faith, go sign up for Logos. And now let's get back to the episode.
So when I asked you, when they refer
Dang. I hear the weather outside, so yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. It's pretty nasty out there. Let's see.
to God as their husband,
Oh yeah, AP said it's actually his power. It's not just his internet. His power and stuff is out. So that is serves him right. Serves him right for being a Turk.
was there a time where Allah was a husband in a correct sense?
In the same sense, he's a rock. How about that?
So is that a yes?
In a culture that uses that language. How is this complicated?
It's complicated because you won't answer my direct
He's
question.
just not saying yes or no, that's why.
Of course, because what is wrong with the explanation? I do not use this terminology today because calling God a rock.
I didn't ask you today.
And we understand that. We understand that.
So that's why I don't use it.
I asked, is
at that
so
time.
I got you.
Obviously,
at that time,
I already answered that.
So is it a yes at that time?
At
Allah
that
was a
time,
husband.
At that time, if they used it and they would explain it from that meaning, they could say anything just the same
So
way.
is that a yes? One at that time, Allah was a husband.
Was he a husband? Do you see what he's doing?
Yes.
This is the same thing as is Jesus gay? This is the exact same thing.
No, it's not.
It's a little
That's
bit
all you're doing.
different,
You're playing games.
But let's
hold on.
let's try to
It's
get
a
to the
simple
next
question.
point.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Let's. I want you guys to be clear about this. There could be a language in the world where people use the name Jesus, Yeshua, Jesus, and say gay.
Yeah, just for
And sorry, that's got nothing to do with what he's asking. So he's given you guys have had multiple examples: father, rock, and husband. In those examples, you said, okay, maybe in a culture they could use those terms. I wouldn't agree to the term, but once the culture explains what they mean by that, I can agree with what they mean without using the term. Now Avery's on, okay, well, suppose it's a different culture, suppose it's Bible times. Could they say God is the husband of our nation, or God is our father? Could they? Is it okay to say things like that? And he's like, well, what if there's a culture that says Jesus is gay? Not get in order to maintain your claim about Jesus being a Muslim, which means he believes in your religion. You've expanded upon that. He believes in your religion. He believes in all the teachings from the Quran and so on. Would he be allowed to call God Father? Would he be allowed to say these things? And then what if someone said Jesus is gay? You're not getting the point, dude, or you just don't want to.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Please answer the question.
Yeah, sure.
In that situation, is Jesus gay?
If that's what they term him as gay, we can refer to them as that name.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, you see how I answered you?
Yes.
So now it's your turn.
Yes.
So
I said it.
So yes.
I said it.
So yes,
time,
Allah's a husband at that time.
If they use that terminology with this meaning, then I affirm the meaning. Well, I'm not interested in the language.
So
Simple.
yes.
Yeah. If they use that meaning, I'm clarifying. Why is this not clear to you?
It's a yes, Allah was a husband in a correct meaning back then, or no, he wasn't. We can't affirm that at all. So is it yes, he was a husband back then? Was that okay terminology to use for Allah?
Let me clarify. Now, because I don't know about the history of, can I go back to that time and know that that's what they meant? So I will not say that that was affirmed. But if that's what they mean, then I have no problem with a culture, any culture, saying any word as long as they clarify it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
Okay.
for clarification, when you're using your example, you're using the word gay as a name. Mm-hmm. He's using the word father as like
Theology.
a theology.
So you want me to adopt the theology?
A theological
No.
identity.
Okay, so he's using the theology, but don't adopt the theology. What are you guys talking about?
No, I'm just clarifying the difference between the analogies. That's all.
Right. So he's trying to usher in an entire theology behind that word?
No.
Why can't if that's the case, actually, I'm glad you clarified that. So you're telling me that he's using the word father, including an entire theology, and you're upset that I'm clarifying my theology?
No, he's pointing out that you're not just using a word that sounds like a completely different word in a different language, right? Because that's what he's using. He's saying, okay, so the name Jesus is pronounced differently in different languages. What if there was a language where they pronounced it as gay? Would you then pronounce it that way? Would you want to? Now you're just talking about how language, and that is an issue that arises. I forget what the exact example was, but there was a I forget which car it was, but their slogan in a different language meant "this is crap" or something like that in some Japan or something like that. I forget what the place was. I forget what the car was. I forget what the place was. I just remember reading about this like 20 years ago, where they had to change their name. They couldn't figure out why their cars weren't selling, and so on. Then someone had to tell them what it sounds like they're saying about their car in that language. They had to actually change it. So yeah, he's talking about how a word sounds in a different language or something like that. That's not what Avery is asking him. Over and over again in the Bible, God is referred to as Father. God is called our rock, and so on. So Dr. Nasser is saying, oh yeah, as long as you explain what you mean, and then it's okay. Would it be okay for a devout Muslim who understands this is what I mean. Would it be allowed to say that? And he's saying, no. What do you mean? What? He's saying it would be okay for a culture. So if you had a culture like here in the United States where we call God our Father, why would you have a problem with that even now? And then he's talking about what about in the past? So during Bible times, was it okay? And anyway, then it's pointed out, no, we're talking about theologically. And no, we're not telling you to add all of biblical theology to the claim. We're just saying we're not just talking about a word here like rock, and rock translated into a different language would sound like something. That's not what they're saying. It's even if you understand something metaphorically, would it be okay as a Muslim to say that during that time? Because the moment he says yes, he runs into his classical commentators, guys, who said no, it's unbelief to call God Father in any sense, not just now, ever, any culture. It's unbelief. That's what his classical commentators say. And that's why he's very, very reluctant to just say yes. He would be in trouble versus his classic commentators. And there would be Muslim scholars who call him out for this and say, what did you just say? That's why he doesn't want to answer it.
I'm not upset.
You're saying you're not answering. You're not clear enough about your theology. No.
Can I
Let me unpack it each and every single time, please. Because like you just said, he's using that word for the sake of inserting his theology. So it's a really good idea for me not to say yes or no, but to unpack the theology. So please don't act like this is unclear.
Let me respond to this.
No, it is.
Brian,
it is clear for sure.
Fantastic.
We're both
Thank you.
clear. I'm just trying to.
No, he's just asking the same question 50 times.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I want to try to get
because
to
he
the
doesn't
next
like
point.
the fact that I actually answered.
Let me respond to this.
Okay.
Let me tell you why it's a theological issue, Dr. Nasser. Because one, in your book, in chapter 9, verse 30, it says that whoever says that Jesus is the Son of Allah, that they're cursed and they're copying the sayings of those who disbelieved before them. This is a theological issue in your religion.
Now you see it.
Hold on.
You see what's ushering in?
Yeah, let's keep
Thank
going.
you.
Let's keep going.
Now we understand.
In chapter 19, verse 93, it says that there's none in the heavens or the earth that can come to the most beneficent except as a slave. You can't, in the context,
What
matter of fact, let me start.
What sort of?
Chapter 19, Surah Miriam.
Yeah.
Chapter 19, verse 93. I'll start at 88 because in 80, it starts with the idea of rejecting.
He's going to be packing on how many verses until, which one's going to answer? Because he's done two so far.
My brother, I'm responding to what you just said. You just had your little thing. Let me respond to you.
If you're going to quote the Quran, can I respond to the first one?
Hold on.
Surah Tawbah or Surah Maryam? Which one would you like to respond to before you pack on more?
Please, hold on.
Always weird when they don't like Avery bringing up some Quran verses. That's good. Let's take a couple super chats, guys. All of you apologists have immense patience. God bless you all. Keep up the good works. By the way, guys, this is correct. If you're having discussion with a Muslim friend, you got to have patience because it might be hours of just what we've seen right there. Hours of getting them to acknowledge certain things. But you got to have patience, man. You just got to have patience. Scholar, Jesus was a Muslim. GodLogic. Jesus called God his father. Scholar, because Jesus was a Jew. And it was Jewish culture. Tried to look at a Mike Winger video. It began with him showing his stay cool shirt. I paused, had a sneako moment, and clicked off. AP, check Arseny Boca. Don't know what that is, but yeah, that is people's reaction to Mike. You start off and you start watching, and he has his stay cool shirt and hidely ho, everyone. Shout out to all my winglings out there. It's pathetic. Dude, why are you interrupting me catching up on AP's last stream? Sorry about that. What's a Muslim? What's a debate? What's actually Dawah in 2026? What's critical thinking in Islam? Yeah, what's a Muslim? What's this? What's that? I believe in Prophet Wood. He's a super nice oh yeah, this is a response to. I believe in the one God, but being completely wrong. I believe in Prophet Wood. He's a super nice, emotional dude that doesn't interrupt people by going live early. That is true. That is true. Christian means belief in Messiah. Muhammad was talked about Messiah, so he was a Christian. Yeah, and again, that would be a version of the etymological fallacy. You could use other examples. So you could say that Muslims are Christians using this. You could say Zakir Naik is a Hindu because the word Hindu originally meant one from beyond the Indus River, and it just meant Indian, people from India. That's what it meant. And so, well, guess what? Since that's what the word meant, just people from India, and Zakir Naik's from India, therefore Zakir Naik is a Hindu. But if Hindus started using that argument, Muslims would be like, what? You guys are seriously pulling that stunt with us? Buddha means the enlightened one. And Buddhists are people who follow the enlightened one. Well, you can ask a Muslim, was Muhammad enlightened? Yes, he was very enlightened. Okay, so could we call him the enlightened one? Yes, okay, so Muhammad was Buddha, and you guys are Buddhists. Suddenly they would understand how stupid that is. But it's what they all do. There's something seriously screwed up when you can only defend a position that your religion maintains, and you can only do it by using reasoning and argumentation that you know is stupid and fallacious. You know it. You know it. But you have to do it because you got nowhere else to go. Really, really, really weird situation to be in. A true Muslim is the man from Sunan Abu Dawud 52:24. Yeah, that's the guy who wanted to kiss Muhammad all over his naked body. Dr. Dilemma, can you put links to videos used in description of last live with Hatun on Quran preservation need for research? Please don't forget. No. And that's not just me being lazy. Some of those videos were taken down years ago. We just had them because we downloaded them. Yeah, so I assume you're talking about the holes in the narrative stuff. Yeah, you can find that stuff. You have to look around for it because we downloaded it when it happened. They erased it and so on. So you can still find it in various places, but yeah, I don't know where that stuff would be now. Seen Gavin Ortland's new response to Jonathan Pajot. Never seen Gavin this frustrated. Pajot accused him of dishonesty, but no response to any of his points about historic belief that non-orthos are damned. That's something I was wondering too, because if you read through some of the councils and so on, it sounds like you are completely out of touch with God and you are damned if you do not accept these things. And yet you have even some Eastern Orthodox saying, oh, no, you can still be Christian, you just don't have the fullness and so on. It's, okay, well, that sounds like a much, much milder claim than what we're reading. But yeah, I don't know about the specifics of that discussion, but I'm interested in that. I'll check that out. One first century source that says Jesus is a Muslim. Yeah, there is none. Are you set up for monthly giving yet? I want to give you money on a regular basis. Oh yeah, depends on what you want. Yeah, I have a Patreon and yeah, so I'm on Patreon. Super chats are fine. Also, we have I have to I don't have the link handy right now, but Jai and DOC and got 3 people working for me right now. So if you want to contribute to that, to actually fund other people as we're continuing to grow, you can do that as well. But yeah, you can go ahead and message me, or yeah, figure that out later. Sikhs also believe in one God. Are they Muslim? Yes, Sikhs are Muslim. May you react to Muslims need a third way Islamic oasis. They detail how the Ummah sucks in the most polite academic way. I've not heard of that, but I'll check that out. Sounds interesting. This guy is the imam at the largest mosque in Indiana, Fishers, Indiana. This needs attention. And he's their resident scholar as well. Why do they all speak the same? Okay, beautiful. Okay, perfect. You're not tracking. You got baked. Yeah, that's true. Isn't that weird? Jesus said all food is clean. Mark 7:18-20, parable. The mediator has the charisma of a used car salesman. The mediator? You mean the moderator? Come on. He's a nice guy. A gay used car salesman. What's wrong with you guys? So Allah needed 3 scriptures, multiple prophets, a ton of hadith and tafsirs just to communicate God is one. Something doesn't add up here, Muslims. Yeah, and so I don't know if this is going to come up in the debate, but the ongoing problem is the people who say it was okay in that culture, it was okay in the Bible times, Old Testament and New Testament, to refer to God as Father. But by the time of the Quran, Allah realized what a problem that was. And so he decided to change that. It's like, okay, well, like, didn't he know it was going to be a problem? Why did he allow it in the first place if he knew it was going to be this huge problem and that it would still be used in 2026 to show why Jesus couldn't be a Muslim? Why didn't Allah just not allow that ever? Hold up, what is this? Would you get power back, man?
Yeah, I forgot that that America has the electrical infrastructure that is similar to third world countries like Turkey, India, and Iraq. Normally, at my other place, I would have this device that has backup power for my modem, so that whenever the power goes out, it
Oh,
will
so
still
you
keep
could
the
have solved the
power line.
problem, but you didn't.
But then I forgot to bring that with me, so now I don't have that issue because America doesn't want to update its infrastructure because they're like, no, having things that work is literally communism. We would rather have things that don't work.
Well, here in America, you can buy some solar panels and have all kinds of things, man. So that's on you. That's on you.
So I apologize to all the Europeans who are watching who are not familiar with this thing called a power outage. Unfortunately, it happens
They
over
don't even
here.
have power. They don't even have power in Europe.
In civilized countries, this doesn't happen. But anyway, I'm back now.
No, in Europe, they'll have the Pakistani Muslim immigrant inside his house using power, and then they'll have a bunch of native British people outside running on wheels to generate the power for his house. And if you don't do that, you're basically an Islamophobe.
It's
First,
funny. Shania says, buy a generator. Like I'm rich or something. Anyway.
First 14 minutes, biggest waste of my life. Dr. Full Muslim, Dr. Full Muslim doesn't know the word father because his mom was, what is this? Are you gay? Does your mom know you're gay? Yes or no? Does your mom know you're gay? Yes or no? That's another one of those examples where that would be the yes or no fallacy. Did Jesus pray in Arabic, go to Mecca, get married, pray in public, eat halal, use war? Did Jesus ever cap? The doctor finally realized that reacting to Christian videos isn't the same as facing Christians. He went from reacting to videos to being reacted to. Oh, was he making videos? Was he making video responses and then he actually faced a Christian and those responses didn't work? Let's see, 99 names for Allah, 99 letters for the alphabet people. Coincidence? I don't think so. The word he's looking for is sire. This gives, the word sire, not like giving birth to. This gives a whole new meaning to mashallah, sister. Next slide, Dr. Nasser sitting with Rabbi Singer. Oh, yeah, that would be classic. These guys need to do a show together. Are you active on your website, Acts 17? No, we switched that. I haven't set it up yet after it was switched. IP was grumbling that you didn't join his stream on this yesterday. The Christian Dawa scene is crumbling, you see. Well, what a dirtbag. What a dirtbag. He wants to go live yesterday talking about this. We've only set it up for like a month that yesterday was Holes in the Narrative Day. That was the anniversary. He could do his stream anytime. And he's like, oh, you've had this planned for a month. It's the anniversary of the Holes in the Narrative interview. Let's talk about some other topic. No. So go whine somewhere else. Go grumble somewhere else. Grumble. Islam's translation paradox fallacy. English father equals no. That's good. Check out the work of Michael Heiser, PhD thesis on Psalm 82 for a remarkable view of Old Testament theology. His book, Supernatural, is a good place to start. I've seen some of that. I don't think some of that works. In order to be Muslim, you mustn't follow logic. That's my definition of Muslim. Yeah, we can just define things however we want.
Are you dissing Heiser now? Or? Are you dissing Heiser now?
Not on certain things. On certain things, he's the guy. On other things, it just sounds weird.
You're talking trash about him after
I will talk trash about him and on Psalm 82. What?
It's pretty messed up, man.
Oh, it's extreme. Yeah, his theology is extremely messed up on those issues. Can Islam make a case without appealing to Jesus? No. Remember yesterday? Sneeko, are you Muslim? Well, have you heard about Paul? Yeah, let me talk about Paul. Yeah. Praying your internet doesn't get zooted. It might. How is the first reflex of Muslims always to insult Jesus whenever their religion is questioned? Obviously, the sole purpose of this religion is to be anti-Christian. That is the big takeaway from all of this stuff. They also say Muhammad was the first Muslim, but Jesus allegedly was a Muslim before him. Oh yeah, Moses was the first Muslim, Abraham was the first Muslim, all kinds of first Muslims. How does this go together? It doesn't. What they'll say is, oh, the first Muslim in that culture, when what it just says is he was the first Muslim. Worst name to have in prison, Subwhore or Mansoor? Oh, which one? Named Subwhore or Mansour. I would say Mansour. Go back to Germany, AP. We like living like natives over here. Yeah, go back to Germany if you like their power source so much.
Maybe I will.
Good. Welcome back, AP. Turk you long enough.
Nice one.
How do we fund the ministry of people working for you? Yeah, guys, I have. I could get the link. I'll do that. I haven't done it because things got thrown off because people still had things to do and traveling and stuff. So Giant DOC moved down here. They got a place, and then they still had stuff that they had to take care of and start as far as like completely moving over here and everything being official and so on. They still had stuff to do, and so they were still like doing some traveling and so on. So anyway, I haven't been asking for that because we weren't actually doing this stuff. But as soon as we're up and running, yeah, just pay attention to when we're all up and running and stuff like that, and then you can contribute to that, and I'll share the link. This doctor can't give a simple answer. Did he not use the right number of stones when wiping? Is that what is making him ramble? That's always what makes people ramble, not using the correct number of stones. Didn't know you switched Act 17. What's your website? No. I switched the host and stuff like that. So, and then I just haven't set it up afterwards. So AP is a third world streamer who doesn't remember to use backup power supplies. Predicted AP answer, yes.
This is so funny. Like Americans have to talk about, oh, everybody has a backup power supply in their home. In Europe, you don't need that stuff because power works.
Because they don't know what power is. They just don't know. All right, let's jump back into this. Wait 1 second. What is this? D Wood, I will put a link in the comment for a video that shows individuals, Momo followers in Ethiopia removing Christians' cross necklaces. Please show it here for awareness sake. Yeah, I'll check that out. Go ahead and send it to my email or something like that. I don't play videos live because I don't know what's in them and what's going to get me shut down and stuff like that. I always check. I check them beforehand.
Let's do this. Let's give him 30 seconds to a minute. Finish his point, and then we'll give you 30
seconds. Should I take
seconds.
notes and write down each of the verses that he's citing, or no?
If you could try to stick to like
It's going to be a while.
I'll just use these two.
It's going to be a while.
He's gonna use two.
I'll just
He's
use
gonna
these
use
two.
two.
I won't go to the others.
Great.
I'll just use these two. So you have throughout your Quran, I won't even quote them because I don't want them to get overwhelmed. You have all these verses in your Quran, specifically the two I mentioned, that directly connect the idea of God being a father or having children with a theological conundrum.
There you go.
And
Perfect.
that if you affirm that Allah is a parent in any way, shape, or form, then you are a disbeliever. You would agree that being a believer and a disbeliever is a theological issue, right?
Would you? Would you agree that being a believer and a disbeliever?
Can you say the word disbeliever slower and more clearly?
Sure.
Disbeliever.
Disbeliever.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Would you agree that that being a believer and a disbeliever are theological issues?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you agree that this father thing is a theological issue, not just a name and title. It's theology. And so if your theology does not match Jesus, Jesus can't be a Muslim. This is the problem. That's why you're trying to fix this.
Avery's cooking now.
Perfect.
Did the Jews use their terminology the same way?
As who?
As Jesus?
No.
No, he didn't.
No, Jesus
they didn't.
referred to himself as the begotten Son of God. The Jews.
So there's no other begotten sons of God?
No.
There's no other begotten son of God?
No.
In the Bible?
No.
Okay. So you do realize that Jesus was speaking to the Israelites.
Speaking of who?
Speaking to the Israelites. He was an Israelite speaking to the Israelites.
In what context?
Every context? He was an Israelite speaking to Israelites? Are you not aware of this?
Oh, there's some, no, not every context. There's some context he was just speaking to the Greeks. There's sometimes he was just speaking to the Romans.
Speaking broadly speaking, who was he? Who sent to the lost sheep of Israel? No?
Sent to the lost sheep of Israel,
Great.
dealing with Canaanite women.
Great. So what I'm saying is that there was a certain theological implication at that time, a certain understanding of the term father, yes or no?
It depends on the context.
And are you doing your best to usher that completely out? Yes or no?
No.
No. You're just asserting one meaning,
No,
right? You just said
no.
the word father has
No.
a very specific theological meaning, and apparently you divorced it from the entire Jewish history, correct?
That's a good point.
Yeah, this is right. He's saying, "Oh, you're what are you?" I mean, gosh, now you have to wonder: is the guy stupid? He doesn't seem stupid. He seems very intelligent, and he sees where things are going, and he's trying at all costs to not acknowledge things that are part of Avery building his case, which will ultimately completely destroy Islam. And now he just said, "Oh, you're acting like father. It only means one thing." And where do you hear that? Where do you hear that? No. The point is, in Islam, you're not allowed to use that of God in any sense. If you do, you're an unbeliever. So it doesn't matter what the sense is, if it's being used by people, and if you're under no circumstances allowed to do that as a Muslim, what do you do now? What do you do now? Let's see.
Let me respond to you.
Great.
Dr. Nasser, I am not limiting the term father, the theology of father, to one meaning. According to Islam, listen, according to
false. Go ahead.
Let me show you why. According to your religion, there's no meaning in which father can be used. You cannot be a Muslim and affirm theologically that Allah is your father in any sense.
And where does it say that in the Quran?
And be a Muslim.
Is that true?
So let me explain this.
Okay.
God in the Quran says in, what is it, chapter 5, verse 18, right?
Good,
He says,
good verse.
Good verse, right?
Yes.
Good one.
So what does
Good
it say?
It says that the Jews and the Christians say, we are the sons of Allah, his loved ones. And it says, then say, why does he punish you for your sins?
Perfect.
No, you are but men, and Allah punishes who he wills, and he has mercy on who he wills, and
how
to
do you-
him you will return.
And how do you understand that verse?
That the Jews and Christians are saying that they are the sons of God metaphorically, and Allah rejects it.
Wrong.
What? Okay,
So let
break
me
it down.
explain.
Break it down.
Let me explain. Do you think, do you know what the word ahibba means?
No.
You use it all the time. I've heard you say it many times.
I
You know that word?
Nah.
You don't say habibi all the time?
Oh, Habibi.
There
okay.
you go. What's the plural of habibi?
I don't know.
Ahibba.
Okay.
That's what you're quoting.
Okay.
Do you think it's wrong for me to believe that somebody, that people can become beloved to God?
No.
No, it's not wrong. So when God says, the Jews and the Christians, they say we are the children of God and we are his beloved ones.
Mm-hmm.
Is this saying that you can't? No, it's completely haram and evil that a human being be beloved to God? No, of course not.
Right.
It's perfectly allowed.
Right.
So is it possible at the same time for someone to say, as the Jews do, we're the children of God? Clearly that verse is not condemning that concept. What is God condemning in this particular circumstance? It's the idea of saying, I know that I am super righteous according to God. That this is the same thing as chapter 53 verse, I'm going to remember the verse. فَلَا تُزَكُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِمَنِ اتَّقَى. Allah says what? That he knows, Allah said commands, do not ascribe purity to yourself. Don't ascribe tezkiyah and purity to yourself. He knows who is more righteous. So the criticism here is clearly not about the terminology, because there's nothing wrong with somebody being Habibullah. You guys know Habib, the famous fighter, Habib? He fought here in Vegas.
Little side note, did this guy just say there's no problem with Jews and Christians calling themselves children of God? And that what it's really condemning is them saying that they're beloved and praising themselves for, because I've never heard that one. I've never heard it's totally acceptable for Jews and Christians to call themselves children of God. As long as they don't say, oh yeah, and we're really beloved to him. That is very interesting.
I want to point out so many things here. I wish I made notes. I have so many thoughts here, but his whole criticism of or his whole point here is also once again very, very much an example of how bad Islam is in understanding the Bible and the biblical context, which is why it is so it's so unfitting when Muslims claim, or when Islam claims to be the continuation of the revelation of the very same God of the Bible. You know, in the Bible, it's very clear. So I had a little bit of a slight disagreement and confusion earlier. The Bible does refer to somebody else as begotten or firstborn son of God, right? It refers to Israel as where God speaks to Israel and calls Israel my firstborn son. It refers to Israel and the Israelites as the children. You are my children. Distinguished from others, you are my children. So it uses this language quite a bit, in the sense that that God is like a father to them. He's like a father to them, and he leads them. This is a language that the Jews didn't just invent, that the Christians didn't just invent. This is a language that is directly in the Bible, right? It is directly right there, which is why Jews and Christians also later on keep using it. It's different from calling Jesus the Son of God, and from Jesus using my father, or the father. But that whole thing is there from the very beginning of the Bible. They keep using that word. He is our father and we are his children, because the Bible also says, you are my children, you are my sons. So and the whole idea here that he presents is he defends what the Quran says here, that they refer to themselves as the children of God and they are beloved. But then why is God punishing them? It's so detached, like it's a little bit off topic, but it is what he's addressing here. The Quran's narrative is so detached from what the Bible actually is and from what the Bible says. The whole idea that they shouldn't be calling themselves children of God and beloved to God, because then why would God be punishing them, doesn't make any sense. It is in the Bible itself, isn't it, David, where God tells the Israelites that they are his children, but he will punish them if they start engaging in perversions and start going astray and start doing this and start doing that. And he will not if they are righteous and if they are good and all that. So this is directly within the Bible, and the Quran has no clue about any of this. And then goes into this thing, but why, if you are his children, then why is he punishing you? This is already part of the Bible. It was already written thousands of years before the Quran made this stupid retort.
And we can't forget Hebrews. We can't forget Hebrews 12:6, ladies and gentlemen. For the Lord disciplines the one he loves and chastises every son whom he receives.
Yeah.
God disciplining you doesn't mean that. That's what's really messed up. I always interpreted that verse as Muhammad having no concept of what a father is supposed to do, because his father died before he was born. He was then sent into the desert with a family of Bedouins who eventually said, this kid's demon possessed, get him away from us. Then he's sent with his mother. She dies when he's 6. Then he's sent with his grandfather. His grandfather dies when he's 8. And then he lives with his uncle Abu Talib, who basically would have made sure that he didn't starve to death. But somehow in Muhammad's mind, a son is someone who's never corrected or disciplined. It's like, seriously? That's hey guys, if that's your mentality, a parent is someone who would never discipline a child for anything, because if you discipline them, it means they're not your beloved. You don't love them. You have some seriously screwed up views. You need to you're going to do massive damage to your kids if you think, he's about to burn the house down. Little Johnny's about to burn the house down, but I love him, so I won't make him stop. What the heck is that? That's Muhammad's view.
You would then expect that the Quran would be very, very benevolent, right? Or that Islam would be very benevolent toward children, but it's actually not. It's the opposite. It is Muhammad himself who then later on commands that if a child reaches the age of reason, whatever that is, and does not pray, you should beat that child. You should beat that child into praying to Allah. That you should always have a rod that you should have a thing displayed to discipline your children. This is what the companions of Muhammad did.
Fighting Conor McGregor, his name is Habib. Is that a haram term? No, it's not a haram term. The most famous fighter in the world, his name is Habib. So clearly God is not saying these are haram words. You can't use this terminology. So that verse that I know you thought it was a big one for you, it actually refutes you.
It refutes you.
Absolutely.
All right, let's break
now,
this
can I go to you said I could respond to 2.
No, I said I
should
only
money. No, that's the whole point of packing on, is it not?
He doesn't want Avery to respond to what he just said, because he knows
he completely missed the point.
I don't know what direction Avery's going to go, but there are multiple directions he could go right here.
I didn't do that to you, but okay.
You didn't pack on 2, and I said tell me I can respond to 2.
I quoted 2 verses. I didn't go in and explaining 2 verses.
Right. So what's the point of shotgunning a bunch of them?
When you just broke down, I just generalized the idea of how Allah deals with the subject.
Yeah, look at this. So Avery brings up 2 verses. The guy responds to one, and then Avery says, "Okay, let's respond to this." What? I don't get to respond to the other one? What? You brought up 2 verses? Like, yeah, but I didn't break them down. Now we have a discussion about what you just said about this verse. No. We have to talk about the other verse, and then you're never going to get back to the verse, right? Which is what you want. Come on, let him talk about the verse, man.
Of being having a son. What you just did was you gave a full exegesis on the verse, and I can't respond to your exegesis right now. So, but if
Let's just go to the second point.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in terms of Surah Maryam, where it says no one can come to God except as a servant, I assume what your point is, what you're trying to say here is that obviously there's these are diametrically opposed. You can't be both a servant as well as like a child of God. Is that your point?
yes,
Then you just threw Isaiah 53 under the bus.
is that your point?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's
Suffering servant, right?
Yeah.
Son of God.
Let's work back.
You just said yes.
I'll work.
Thank you for the clip.
I'll work backwards. You're welcome for the clip. This is going to embarrass you.
YOLO.
Okay, so Avery could have like worded that slightly different because Avery's point is that if we are all merely servants, as Surah 19 says we are, anyone who the only way you approach Allah according to Surah 19 is as a slave. It's the only way you ever approach God. So how could someone who believes you can only approach Allah as a slave think of yourself as a child of God? And so Dr. Nasser there says, well, you can't be servant and child, right? And then he says, aha, what about Isaiah 53, which is talking about Jesus, but he's the suffering servant. So Jesus, who's the son, is also a servant. Yeah, not getting the point there, buddy. Not getting the point. You can't merely be a servant and also be the son. You could be the son who also serves. Jesus said that he didn't come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many, but he's coming as the son. So what's up?
Are we supposed to count all the fallacies that he's making?
It's, I can quote like 5 just on the claim that Muhammad is just on the claim that Jesus is a Muslim. But,
Yeah.
And then some others along the way. Let's see.
Isaiah 53 is not Islamic theology.
I know.
Dr. Nasser.
That's why I asked you, and you answered.
Dr. Nasser,
You answered.
you asked me
Yes.
about what I understand about your Quranic text.
Okay. So I was saying, well, maybe Avery could clarify that you could be a son, and so he was talking about Islamic theology. According to Islamic theology, if you are a servant, you are not a son. And then Dr. Nasser went to the Bible, but Avery wasn't even talking about the Jewish or Christian perspective on that. He was talking about Islam.
Yeah.
Your Quranic text has nothing to do with biblical theology.
What's your point about that? Go ahead.
So I can have a position on a Quranic text without it having anything to do with, thank you very much, without it having to do with my biblical understanding of my biblical text. That don't make no sense. So thank you for that clip. Chapter 5, verse 18. Now let's go back with your eisegesis. In chapter 5, verse 18, you said it's not about the terminology. It's exactly about the terminology. That's why it mentions it. We, the Jews and Christians, say, what do they say? Oh, we are the sons of Allah, his loved ones. Then say.
And his loved ones.
That's what I said.
You said his sons of Allah, loved ones. You have to put
and his loved ones, sure.
So that means there's two terms going on.
Sure, no worries. And he denies both.
Wrong.
What? He says.
This is amazing. This is serious. I've never heard this. I've never heard. No. The Quran is just saying that don't call yourselves loved by him or beloved. That it's not rejecting that Christians and Jews can call themselves sons of Allah. This is good to know. This is good.
You just said he denied.
He denies.
What happened to
both.
Habibi?
He denies both when they're calling them their sons and his loved ones. Let me show you how.
So it's wrong to call somebody beloved?
Watch this. In Ibn Kathir's tafsir of this verse, he even acknowledges that the Jews are referring to themselves as children of God in a metaphorical way, in the way that they follow the prophets and that God looks after them. And guess what Allah says? No. He says no. Why then does he punish you for?
Notice, guys, I said he was going to get in trouble with his classical commentators, and Avery's bringing up the classical commentators.
Your sins, implying that if you were his sons and his beloved ones, let's combine the two, right? Because the two of them.
No, they're two things. They're both terms, and you're denying both, which makes no sense.
That's what deal with your Quran, not me. So he says, no. Why then does he punish you for your sins? This is in direct contrast to Moses in Deuteronomy chapter 8, where God says to Israel that as a father, I discipline you. Just as a father disciplines his son, so I discipline you in the wilderness. and punish them for their sins, take them through the hard times.
Yes.
So according to Jesus' theology and Moses' theology, God does punish a son for his sins, his beloved ones for the sins. But in Islam, if you are his son and his beloved one, that's not what he would do. Do you see? This is showing the theology in the Quran is completely contrary to the theology of Jesus and the prophets. That's why he's not a Muslim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Burn. You got the slow cap. You got the slow clap.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about 8 different categories of people he describes as those who he loves. Inna Allah yuhibbu, indeed Allah loves al-mutawakkilin,
Loves who?
al-sabirin. It talks about different people, those who are patient, those who rely upon God, those who have time.
Now go down the list of all the people Allah doesn't love. That's a longer list there, isn't it?
Not sons, huh?
Those who are muhsinin. So he
sons.
loves the. What is happening? Did you
Sorry,
see how
I'm just
quiet
saying,
it was?
yeah.
not sons?
Did you see how quiet it was?
yeah, I get it, I
Look,
get it.
man.
You was chiming in when I was talking.
Thank
Come
you.
on.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
trying
For the listeners,
So-
let's like give them like 30 seconds to.
Thank you. So what I'm trying to say is that very obviously throughout the Quran, Allah Ta'ala affirms that he loves people. So your objective, which is to say that chapter 5, verse 18, is blaming these people and saying this is evil language and you can't use this language. Clearly, if you say that it's wrong to use both of these terms, then that would mean that you can't call yourself beloved of God, but throughout the Quran, people are beloved to God. Now, we don't use that term.
You know what's happening right now? He's acting as if we are all to assume that the Quran is actually coherent.
Yeah. We do not assume that. I have to say this is the best response he could give here, but yeah, he's resting on the claim that the Quran is coherent, and we don't believe it is. Allah, in other words,
we aren't the ones who claim that the Quran is perfect and perfectly consistent and coherent. We would never claim that.
yeah.
So
Guys, the reasoning here, if the Quran is coherent, would he'd be bringing up an interesting point here. So Avery's pointing out, Allah condemns the Jews and Christians for claiming that they're children of Allah and His beloved. And Avery's saying it's condemning them, and he goes to Ibn Kathir. No, it's criticizing them for calling themselves His children and His beloved. And then Dr. Nasser's response is, well, if you're taking that to mean you can't call yourselves children of God, what about beloved here? Because there are other people in the Quran who are loved by God. Therefore, it can't be some blanket prohibition against calling yourself loved or beloved or something like that. And therefore, why would you interpret it as a blanket condemnation of calling yourselves children of God? You've been refuted here. Be interesting to hear how Avery responds. But yeah, in our view, you can't say just because Allah is saying this here that He doesn't say something over here that conflicts with that. He does that all the time.
Yeah.
Even in this sort of language, like how can Allah have a son when He has no wife? What's that sound like He's saying? It sounds like He's saying you need both man and woman to have an offspring. But then when Mary asks the exact same question, when the Spirit shows up and says, you're going to have a son, she says, how can I have a son when no one has touched me? And the response is, it's easy for Allah. Well, what do you mean there? What do you mean? In one passage, Allah says it's impossible for God to have a son without procreating with some woman. And over here, a virgin can have a son, and it's completely easy for Allah. Okay, so you can't say, well, what He means in this passage can't be what it sounds like, because this other passage, it's just incoherent. It's just jumping around, and there's no coherence to it. All right, let's see how Avery responds though.
That's why God specifically says the Jews and the Christians use this type of terminology, right? Now we recognize that and we understand that.
Why don't you?
Because of your messed up theology. You guys started attributing a literal son to God, and so that's why in Surah 9, they said God doesn't actually have kids, guys. At that time, if you want to say these are children, two parties in the world, children of God and children of the devil, when you use terms like that, we're like, yeah, we get you. We don't use that terminology, but we get you. If you're going to twist that into Roman paganist ideas that include the idea that, oh, the emperor is a child of God or a representative of God on earth, and then you mix Christianity with all this, and you have all these issues now.
Dude, this guy I thought this guy was going to. I keep saying the answers don't get better. Now he's Christianity was the product of Roman paganism. Are you stupid, dude? He did get his degree from the Islamic Learning Center. Same thing. The lowest level Dawa guys will say, and he's saying it here.
Then it's much better for God to clarify and say what? Even when you use this terminology, do not attribute purity to yourselves. It's not saying that the terminology is completely prohibited, because if it was completely prohibited, then what that would imply is that Habib is not something allowed. Now,
I don't understand.
we don't use that terminology.
I don't understand. He rejects the use of the word he rejects calling Allah a father. He rejects referring to yourself as children of Allah and says it is not appropriate. But now he's also saying at the same time that the Quran doesn't have actually a problem with Jews and Christians referring to themselves as children of Allah. Is that what's happening here? I don't understand. I'm a little bit confused here.
You're definitely confused, man.
We don't use that terminology. I want to be clear about that. So we don't have to use that because obviously it got corrupted. And so it has a bunch of different meanings. But we understand what people mean. And that verse is talking about do not attribute purity to yourself, especially when the idea is that, look, you could be a good person some days and a bad person others. The idea that, I joined a group. I'm either Jewish or I'm Christian, therefore I'm just beloved to God no matter what. I am considered so pure that I'm a son of God.
Or, hey, I mindlessly believe in the most obvious false prophet in history, and therefore, according to Surah 3, verse 110, I'm one of the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind. Yeah, good. You heard it here, folks. Don't say these kinds of things.
For all the people listening, by the way, especially for the Christians and the Jews listening, this is a clear a confirmation from the Muslims themselves here. Allah doesn't love them. Allah has no love for the Muslims. This whole idea, this whole concept is very, very foreign to them. Of course, a father loving his children, a parent loving their children, or God loving his creation or his children is, of course, something completely foreign to them. Because if you actually love them, then why would you discipline them? You would never do something like that. This makes it very clear. I mean, there is just the sentimental and the emotional aspect as well. It also explains why how Muslims can become really, really messed up in their conduct toward others. They don't learn that Allah actually loves them. They don't learn that Allah has love for them. They think it's an arrogant or a shameful or a bad thing to say that Allah loves them. They think they're claiming some entitlement when they say that, which is completely nonsensical. There is no love in Islam. There is no love in Islam for Muslims or for anybody else.
None of that is true, guys. Islam is super loving.
I understand what you mean. You're talking about just being a righteous person. And I'm letting you know that level of arrogance is not allowed.
Okay.
That's clear. You go.
Okay, so there's two things that I noticed. One, you contradicted yourself.
Great.
Because you just said that you don't use the term Habib, but you did affirm that Habib calls himself Habib and there's nothing wrong with that.
You just misunderstood.
I know, I think I do understand what you're saying. That being Habibullah, you cannot affirm that of yourself.
Of course, there's people named Habibullah. I think my great-grandfather was named Habibullah.
Then why did you just say you can't use the term?
You can't attribute it to yourself. Listen.
Got it.
Can somebody be, look.
You can't attribute it to yourself. You can't call yourself this, but someone else can call you that. This is good to know.
Hey,
Look, it's
David,
like the,
What?
let's pretend your name is Habibullah,
Yeah.
because that's what your parents named you.
Okay.
Hey, what's your name?
I'm not allowed to say, according to Dr. Nasser. He says I can't
What's
say.
your name?
I can't say. You have to go ask someone else, man.
I need to know your name. I need to put it down here. What is your name? Just tell me your
I
name.
can't say it. Dr. Nasser said I can't say it. Only someone else can say it about me. So here, let me go get my birth certificate and you can read it, but I can't say it. I'm not allowed to say it. That's what he's saying, guys. This is weird.
righteous. Here, let's make it real simple for you. Can I walk around saying, I'm a righteous person? I'm a righteous person? Look, let God judge. I'm aspiring to be a righteous person.
Thing.
I'm aspiring to be beloved by God. I want to be beloved by God. And you know what that guy?
That is not the same thing as saying I'm beloved to God. I can say, I would like to say I'm a righteous person, but that I understand would be presumptuous and arrogant. That's not remotely the same thing as saying God loves me. That's not the same thing at all. You're not making any claims about yourself and your merits and whatever it is. You're stating a fact. If you want to brag about, or if you want to talk about your relationship with your own parents, right? Saying I am a very, very good son, or I'm a very, very good child, is probably a bit presumptuous and can be arrogant. Saying my parents love me is not the same thing. It probably, I hope it is true. And you should be saying it. That should be true. Similarly, God loving you is not presumptuous. It should be true. It is true. It's not the same thing as saying I'm a very righteous person. It's completely different. Gosh.
Yeah. This is just a huge difference between Christianity and Islam.
Yes.
Because in Matthew 5, when Jesus tells his followers to love even their enemies, he says, so that you may be like your Father in heaven, right?
Yes.
For he causes his sun to rise on the evil and the unjust, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous, and so on. So biblically, God loves all of us. From an Islamic perspective, Allah constantly talks about all these people he doesn't love. And so this is actually, this is weird. This is actually connected to this entire idea. I can make a video out of this, guys, just based on what they're saying right here, right? So Avery's pointing out difference between being everyone having to come to Allah as nothing but a slave, the difference between that and viewing yourself as children of God, right? From Dr. Nasser's perspective, if all you are is a slave, how do you know if Allah loves you? A slave master might love his slave. Like, this is a really good slave. He's been the best slave I've ever seen. He's really good, and I love this guy, right? But you don't know, right? You're property. You're property to him. So how do you know if you're good enough to have earned his love? Well, you don't. A parent automatically loves his children, right? And you'd think there's something wrong with him if he didn't. So when Christians and Jews, if we're the children of God, we're already viewing ourselves as loved by God. And if we go astray, a parent doesn't stop. Oh man, my kid just messed up again, didn't do his homework. I guess I stop loving him now. And then maybe later on, he'll do everything I want, and then I'll start loving him again. That's a weird way of thinking, but that's how God is in Islam.
Yeah.
You do something wrong, Allah stops loving you. And then, so how can a person say, God loves me? You don't know. He might hate you right then. And guys, this entire discussion right here is really showing some things about how Islam influences your brain.
Over there,
Considering that you can never be good enough, that means Allah will never actually love you, because he could only love you if you are righteous and if you're good, if you're perfect. Only then. Similarly, of course, a parent can only love their child if their child is a good child. Otherwise, I hate that child. Screw that child.
Yeah. Every one of my kids was born, and I thought, I guess I'll wait to see what happens when this kid grows up, so I can decide whether I love him or not.
Yeah.
That's how we
loved by God. I think he is. But do I know for a fact that we are the loved ones of God? That's arrogant.
So you can't, as a Muslim, you can't affirm that you're the loved one of God?
So, believers are beloved to God. Allah says, let me explain. Allah says, Wallahu yuhibbus sabirin. Allah loves those who are patient. Do I try to exercise patience? Of course I do.
I understand, Dr. Nasser. My question was very simple. As a Muslim, can you affirm for yourself that you are beloved of God?
No, I will not.
That's tough.
I will not arrogantly declare that I know God loves me. No, God judges me. I don't tell God what to think.
This is another thing that is contrary to the teachings of Jesus. The teaching of Jesus says that you are the loved ones of your Father. Just like he takes care of the birds, just like he dresses the lilies, how much more are you worth to him than these? Jesus says that those of us who are believers, those of us who are in the kingdom, we are beloved of God. This is another contrary thing with Muslim theology and Christ's theology. It's completely opposite. That's number one.
And guys, big point right there, right?
Thank you.
Avery just pointed out, hey, our topic here is whether Jesus was a Muslim. what you just said about who God loves and doesn't love and this and that, we can't say this and that, is diametrically opposed to Jesus' theology. So if you're getting if what you're saying is the theology of Islam, the theology of the Quran, and it's diametrically opposed to what Jesus taught us, how can you say with a straight face that Jesus was a Muslim? How? Tell us. Make it make sense, guys.
Number
Well,
two.
What, he's going to pack on?
You said,
Let him go, number
remember, I said two things.
It's adding to the point.
Sure. Number two, you said that that this term of father and these other terms are basically removed because people misused them. They attributed them to false things, false worship, and so that's why Allah took the initiative to remove these terminologies from the theology, basically. Correct?
So, AP, you missed it, and I'm wondering where Avery's going with this, but he's saying, you're saying that Allah was at one point okay with these terms like father and so on, but then he saw it cause problems. There are multiple directions you could go with this. I would just say, well, didn't Allah know that they were going to cause problems, so why did he allow them to begin with? That's where I'd go. Let's see.
To correct them, right? Okay, so now this is where I think that you messed up here as well. Because in chapter 5, it's Maida, I think it's verse number 73 or 72, if I'm not mistaken. Are you familiar with who it says the Christians say Allah is?
You have to remind me.
It says that the Christians, it doesn't say Christians specifically, but it says those who say that the Messiah is Allah.
Yeah,
so they were referring to the Messiah as Allah. Is that an incorrect or correct way to use the term Allah?
To call Allah
To call the Messiah Allah?
No, we don't call
So
it
then
Messiah.
why do you still use the term Allah if it was being misused by the Christians or the people calling the Messiah Allah?
This is why I should have responded to the first point. What was the first point? Are you
No,
serious?
yeah, I'm
That's
dead
the
serious.
question?
You don't have a response right now. You're stalling. Can you respond to what I just said?
Why is it the case?
Why do you? I'll repeat it. Why do you use the term Allah today when it was being misused by those who were calling the Messiah Allah? When your point was that Allah deleted the term father and deleted all these other terms from the theology because people attributed these things to false idols, false gods, corrupt theology, Roman Greek theology and mythology. So he removed this stuff because it was misused.
So you have to remove
You get that, guys? I wouldn't have thought of that in like 1,000 years. And I'm not convinced that Dr. Nasser will even understand it at this point. But so Avery's point was, so since Dr. Nasser believes that at one point you could call Allah father, but people started misusing the term father, therefore he abrogated using that because it had been corrupted by people misusing the term father. So then he said, we have to do away with this term father. And Avery brings up Surah 5, verse 72, which condemns Christians for calling the Messiah Allah. Christians called the Messiah Allah. And we're condemned for saying that. What's that mean? It means we've corrupted the word Allah. So keep in mind, he's saying Christians and others corrupted calling Allah Father. So Allah said, nope, can't use that anymore. Now they're using it for corrupt purposes and so on, and misunderstanding it. Just need to scrap that and say, no more with that. Let's use this other terminology now. Avery's pointing out, according to the Quran itself, people are corrupting the word Allah and saying that's the Messiah. So why not throw away the entire word Allah? Because it's been corrupted in its usage. Ouch.
I agree with you. I would have never thought of that.
Never thought of that.
That's very interesting.
Yep. That's Avery.
God.
So why didn't he remove the term Allah when it was being misused by those who were saying that the Messiah is Allah?
So what is the solution here? To now get rid of the term God?
Don't ask me. This is your point.
This is the
Wow.
What's the solution? Just stop using terms when they're misused? That's what you said. I didn't say that. You said that.
He's using the Dr. Nasser's logic. to point out a problem. And
it was-
Dr. Nasser says, oh, wait, so what are you suggesting? He's not suggesting anything.
Yeah.
He's just appealing to your logic.
And it's just, dude, it's funny. He's all condescending. Well, what are you saying? That when someone starts misusing a term, you just do away with it? That's what you said, dude. He just took what you. Oh my goodness, man. Let's see.
Weirdest. I never imagined someone would say that because somebody said God is, I don't know, a frog. And now we have to keep the word frog, but get rid of the word God. That's your.
You said it. You said it with the word father. That God was okay with being called father and husband and all these other things in Bible times. But since people misuse them, therefore Allah had to say, don't call me those things anymore. They're being misused. And now like 30 seconds later, he's going, what? What kind of idiot? What kind of epic moron would think that if someone's misusing a term, you just do away with the term? What sort of idiot would claim such a thing? Avery? Avery didn't say it. He simply repeated back to you your reasoning. Oh my goodness.
I have to, I mean, to be very, very fair, my initial reaction when I heard this just now was, are you stupid, Mr. Nasser? However, I have to be fair. When you are in the middle of a debate like this, it can get very heated and you might have difficulties thinking about even the simplest things, right? You know it too, David. When you're in the middle of a debate, you sometimes fail to think about things clearly. It's a heated moment. So he might not understand what is being said here. However, maybe if he gives it a little bit time, he will get it. If he still doesn't get it later on, I would really invite Mr. Nasser here to think about that again for a second. Avery is taking his logic, his ridiculous suggestion that he just made, and applying it back to him again to ask him a question. Avery is not making this point himself. He's just using Mr. Nasser's logic. And Mr. Nasser just needs to sit down and understand that for a second. Oh, wait, he's basing this on the ridiculous thing that I just said. Now I get it. That's what you need to understand, Mr. Nasser.
Yep. Better luck next time, buddy. There are always future debates. We'll watch maybe another minute or two, and then we'll take super chats and probably close out, and then people can watch the rest of it as they see fit.
There was another part of the debate that I was kind of curious about because I feel like he was doing that very same thing, and Muslims clipped the heck out of that. When something about gay, the word gay was brought into the discussion.
No, that was earlier, man.
Was it? Did I miss
Yeah.
it? Oh, come on.
Yeah. No, that was earlier. Yeah, he was so Avery was bringing up the point, like different cultures, and what if a different culture called, he was saying, oh, well, if a different culture called God Father, I would ask what they mean by that. And if they mean something metaphorical, then I would agree with what they're really saying, not the use of their term. And then when Avery started trying to pin him down a little bit, not in the Zoot sense, but trying to pin him down a little bit on that issue, then he goes, okay, well, imagine if there's another culture and their word for Jesus is gay. Are you going to say Jesus is gay because it's their word and their culture? And so
I see.
so then Muslims clip some of that apparently, and
Point. What you said, listen, your point was, and I'll repeat it again, because I can still man you over and over.
Not in the Zoot sense.
hey, that froze here. Is that in the original video? Because I'm playing this. Let me see.
Theology, Roman, Greek theology, and mythology. So he removed this stuff because it was misused.
So you have to remove the word God?
So why didn't he remove the term Allah when it was being misused by those who were saying that the Messiah is Allah?
So what is the solution here? To now get rid of the term God?
Don't ask me. This was your point.
This is the weirdest. I never imagined someone would say that because somebody said God is, I don't know, a frog. And now we have to keep the word frog, but get rid of the word God. That's your point?
What you said, listen, your point was, and I'll repeat it again, because I can still man you over and over.
Okay, this is actually in the video here, guys. There's let's see. It's frozen in the video.
This is how you download videos, man.
What?
This is how you download videos. What's wrong with you?
Let's see. Let's just see how long it goes. Here's Avery frozen in the actual video. 10, 9, 8. Come on, it can't last forever, man.
I bet it's in your downloaded version of the video. It's probably not in the video.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No, there's an actual problem here. Oh, yeah, there's no... Okay, that's a glitch in my video. Huh. So there was a problem. There was a problem in my video. All right, we'll go ahead and stop it there then. I could...
This is how you download videos, man? This is how you download your videos?
Hang on. I want to see if that's a problem. I want to see if that's a problem in Ecamm or in my video.
This is the technology that you rely on in 21st century.
No, that's not the No, it's not in my video, man. That's in Ecamm. That's never happened, dude. That's never happened. Hang on.
Now you blame Ecamm. Sure. Now you want to blame a multi-million-dollar company.
Huh. That has never happened before, man. That is weird, wild stuff. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a day since my video player no longer works. Normally, if there's some sort of problem or some sort of glitch, you get an update like 2 or 3 days later, and they say there was a problem with video, so here's the update. Let's take these super chats, man. I had recent wahi from my one true God that Muslim way of thinking is exactly like their holy book, fragmented, sticky note patchwork, hence why their way of debate is work of a scattered mind. It's pretty racist, man. I think people are influenced by their book. Rumor has it, Mansour, it's not Mansour, it's Mansour. But Mansour also works. It is his name. Was named after the Prophet Muhammad's magical night in the desert. Yeah, Mansour also works for that as well. Why did AP sniff the flag? Why'd you do that, man?
I didn't sniff it, I kissed it.
Uh-oh, you think he's venerating the flag? That's way better than what Subhor did. I don't remember if you saw it, but it was his show with Muhammad Hijab, and when he tapped Muhammad Hijab on the leg to tell him to shut up because he's going too far, he then tasted his hand. It was extremely creepy.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was extremely weird and creepy. My favorite thing about these debates, the Christian deals with the dumb arguments with patience, but the Muslim starts crying to the mediator, thanks to the last guy. I can't remember the proper word for this. Moderator. Mediator can work. You're kind of mediator there. But, yeah. Surah 5:18 rejects humans being children of God. Well, not according to Dr. Nasser. It sounded like he freaked out when Avery pointed that out. Jesus used the term father in multiple ways. Some the Pharisees agreed with, others they picked up stones to stone him. Obviously, they did not agree. Yeah. Allah never forbade being called a rock. The Rockites. Yeah. Where did Allah say, you will no longer call me a rock? So it hasn't been abrogated. Or maybe granites is better. The granites instead of the Rockites, the granites. Allah didn't forbid calling him a gay flamingo. That's true. He never said that. Show me that, guys. Show me chapter and verse where Allah said don't call him a gay flamingo. This debate was unbearable. Dude acted like a baby. Yeah. Raymond Ibrahim's channel is being shadow banned on YouTube. Please give a shout out for his channel. Hey, shout out to Raymond Ibrahim's channel. Everyone go check it out. Everyone go check out Raymond Ibrahim's channel.
Raymond Ibrahim.
That he makes videos on a lot of stuff that gets overlooked by apologists and polemicists and so on. Covers a lot of awesome historical stuff. In fact, that's the direction my son wants to go in. And when he was asking which direction, hey, what should I cover? I was like, the stuff Raymond Ibrahim's doing is really important, and there's not enough people doing it. So, hey, it's Nordine. I thought I blocked you. You said we will run experiment, and if it doesn't work, then it's a spiritual issue. Do you still hold that view? When will the experiment start? I don't remember what you're talking about, and I genuinely do not care about turning every subject into demons. Let's get Allah on the Maury show. Then we can find out if he is the father. That might be a screenshot that, because that might be a funny skit at some point. Is Allah the father? Do the whole thing as a talk show. Like DNA results and stuff. Muslims are ruled by their emotions. That's why they can't understand God's love. God does what is best for a person no matter how much they displease him. If punishment is what they need, punishment is what they'll get. Yeah, that's generally how parenting works. Hey, Sarah. Sarah says, Allah constantly threatens with hell while Yahweh doesn't find pleasure in the destruction of the wicked. Then the more Nasser has to explain, the more he loses. Yep, he certainly loves to lose, apparently. And with that said, he is more well-spoken and more intelligent than lots of Dawah guys. What you find, though, is that his responses don't get any better. And that's interesting. But like to see him debate more. See what happens. Soon AP is going to start complaining that he needs to buy an AC unit so he doesn't fry. Shaking my head. These otters, they never leer. That's a good point. And YouTube didn't let me insult a certain country. He wanted to insult a certain country. I don't know what country that would be.
Which country?
Hope it's not the people of Turkey who keep getting slow roasted. All right, guys. So we were going to watch a little bit more of that. We did have to cut off some point here pretty soon because I have a live stream with Hatun at 8 p.m. But Ecamm apparently made that decision for us. He said, "You will not continue this."
What is your obsession with Turks? You keep going live with Turks.
Well, kind of show people how bad they are. You know what I mean? Like, you have lots of people who've never encountered a Turk, and they hear people saying, "Hey, you know, these Turks, they're like the worst people. They're the dumbest. They're slobs. They suck at everything, but they're huge egomaniacs and think they're the best at everything, and everyone's supposed to serve them." People hear that, but they're like, "Well, I've never met a Turk. How do I know you people aren't misrepresenting them?" So you got to have a Turk on periodically. So they're like, "Oh, everything I heard about Turks is 100% true."
That makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, AP. Final thoughts on any of this stuff? Just sitting there thinking, oh man, they got some guy I'm not familiar with who's smart and well spoken and very well educated. Man, maybe we're gonna get some powerful dawah for once. Maybe some powerful dawah, and it's the same old stupid dawah.
I would say that the conclusion of all of this is that it is not appropriate to call Allah.
That's true. They need to drop that word because it's been misused. Even according to the Quran itself, it's been misused.
Yeah.
That's a good point. You heard it here, folks. If our buddy there, and sadly the conversation got cut short, so we don't know what his response was because Avery had to explain to him because the guy's like, "What? You're saying you have to stop using a term just because people corrupt and misuse it? What kind of idiot would say such a thing?" You did. We don't know how he defended himself after that because Avery had to point out, "I didn't say that. That's what you just said, dude." And now all of a sudden it's the stupidest thing you've ever heard in your entire life. Do you hear yourself? We'll have to check that out on our own to see how he recovered from that. But the link to the full debate is in the description box, and I'm going to be checking that out. And we had James here. Even if Jesus' name was gay in Chinese, the grammatically correct complete sentence would be gay means Jesus in Chinese, not Jesus is gay. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time over on Hatun's channel. It'll be very, very awesome and based.
Allegedly.
Yep. All right. Catch y'all next time.